Wait. Camera's on, but the, hold on. I'm slacking. All set.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:31. I was present. Me and Tim Settler, the two commissioners, and the chief, the two deputies, and Kathy. And we have Gene Simmons, Sams, who's appointed district clerk.
You. That's what you're doing.
So I don't know if you know everybody here, Gene.
I do not.
My name is Paul Ozier.
Yes, Buck.
Tim Settler.
I'm Tim Sattler.
Okay.
We got Mike Seaton.
Sean Belvani, I'm the deputy chief.
Mike Robinson, the other deputy chief.
And you know Kathy.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try to remember.
Do you have any questions or anything you want to?
No, I pretty much picked her brain before the meeting started. We're good.
So, if you would, you want,
Oh, yeah.
we have to swear in.
Okay.
You want me to read it?
Sure.
And you sign it?
I'll sign it, yeah.
All right. All right, Jean. Jean, if you'll stand. We'll just do it this way, okay? Okay. I, Jean Sams,
I, Jean Sams,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties
that I will faithfully perform and discharge all the duties
incumbent as fire district clerk
incumbent as by district clerk
for the remainder of the term
for the remainder of the term,
according to the best of your abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution,
agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution,
the laws of the state of New Hampshire,
the laws of the state of New Hampshire,
and the bylaws of Tilton Northfield Fire District, so help you God.
and the bylaws of Tilton Northfield Fire District, so help me God.
Okay, if you would be so kind as to sign.
All right.
Very well.
I guess I've never heard all that.
I'd have asked her, but I could read it.
You should have made another copy.
And Paul, you need to sign. He's the chairman of the board. Thank you.
Certainly.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Welcome to the fray.
Well, I'm leaving. So I'll see you guys, I guess, in January?
When we have the public hearing.
Public hearing is in February, but
February,
I will
okay.
be getting in touch with you prior to that.
Excellent.
There
Okay.
is, yeah, there's paperwork that we have to do for DRA to let them know that you're now for clerk and all kinds of goodies.
When you talk to them, they may make you change your mind. Who knows? I worked there for 26 years.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. Okay.
Thank you for
very
coming.
much.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Okay, next on the list is correspondence.
So the only correspondence we have is the letter from Lorero, which I sent to you by email, but there's also a copy in the back of your packet.
And I think you had already sent that
I did.
before,
Yeah.
so it's the second time we've seen it.
Have you any questions on that? You got any questions? Tim?
Well, I think we should chat about it. I don't know if we should wait until maybe later in the meeting when Eric is here. And the whole building committee.
Okay,
If we can move that discussion maybe.
okay. Okay, and that, as far as the building committee, want to hold off on that till?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's wait till Eric gets
Yeah.
here.
Chief's report.
So the chief's report I sent out to you guys yesterday. And, was it? Yeah, Monday. And happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
I just, on the overlapping simultaneous calls, just the mutual aid received and requested, what was the breakdown of what those calls were for? And
I have that.
that should be here in the call book, right? Somewhere.
I have other things I pull it out for. So, mutual aid given was one ambulance call, and that was to Canterbury for a motor vehicle accident. And the others were for going to fires in Sanperton, Franklin, Concord, and Laconia.
And then we received mutual aid on one ambulance.
Yep. Received one mutual aid ambulance from Franklin
And that would
for a
have
call
been
in Tilton.
because of, both of all our guys were out, or were we down equipment?
Do you know what call number it was?
177,
Uh,
1777.
can maybe try to.
It wasn't like we have an ambulance down.
No, we have one down right now, getting repaired from when it was at Irwin's, and one of the guys hit it with a plow.
Looking at it, my guess is we had multiple patients transported from motor vehicle accident.
That's what it was, yep.
Thank you. I had another question down under central main cost recovery.
Yes.
You've updated the wording there. Collection efforts are currently at a standstill, and I guess my question is there anything we can do as a commission, fire department, you as chief?
So, it has to do with the law, the way the law is written and the way the law is interpreted by different police departments.
Right.
And we have to get clarification on that from each police department as to how they're interpreting it. And then, theoretically, we hire them as agents of Tnfd. Police departments can freely give us information. But their police departments aren't considering our collection agency as agents of us for some reason, even though they have a letter from us saying that they're agents of us. And so, like, one town will, one town won't, and so we're trying to work through that, and it's the way the law is written within the state that leaves it kind of open to interpretation.
Well, so is there any reason, and maybe it's just because of the amount of work it is, which is likely the answer I came up with, but is there any reason why we're not able to get that information to give to them?
A lot of it is collecting the information at that accident scene to get the registration.
No, but is there any way that we can get the information from the police departments if they're not willing to talk to the, the company we
agency?
hire?
Yep.
Is there, what's involved? Can we get that information from the police department?
Probably, yeah.
And how many calls? That's a lot. It's a lot of calls.
So it's any time we respond out on the road, if it's a motor vehicle accident, it's a fuel spill, any of those types of calls, yeah, so.
So is it a manpower issue that we can't get that information from?
I don't know, we've been really busy
Well,
lately,
I know we're busy, but it's
Yeah.
like how much?
I don't-
How much money is it versus how busy are we versus?
So we did collect some, at the beginning of the year on some calls, but they ended up they suspended their efforts. And we're the only one in the state that they're contracted with right now. They thought it was going to be easier to do. And it's obviously harder than they thought. So they're working through a process to try and get it better. But in regards to us collecting the data from the police departments, we could probably do that, find a way to, but we'd have to know which ones that they need the data for and stuff like that. Or we would just, every time there's an accident or a response to the street for hazmat or something like that, we'd make sure that we have to list that somewhere so that we can follow up.
I guess I don't know how much money it is. We generate a lot of money on ambulance revenue.
I would
Is this $100,000? Is this
No,
$10,000?
I think it was probably closer, if we were able to collect on everything, probably somewhere in the area of $40,000 to $50,000. So it's not, it's insignificant.
Right. What? Not chump change, but obviously we're not getting it. The solution isn't coming.
Right, and we signed a one-year contract with these folks.
I mean,
And the contract is up shortly.
do other fire departments have the? They don't.
They haven't tried this
Okay.
with this company yet. We're groundbreakers.
Are there other companies that do this with success?
out of Maine. They do it.
So there are other
successfully.
collection agencies in Maine that do it, but none of them seem to do it in New Hampshire. Like they're based out of Maine. The laws in Maine are different, so it's easier.
So most fire departments just don't collect this money.
That's correct.
I'm surprised that the chiefs don't get together. I mean, you have meetings and stuff, you bring this up, they don't want any part of it, or?
We haven't really been discussing that. We are discussing ambulance billing right now, and we're having legislation to improve how that works. And that's part of what we'll talk a little bit later about, and I'm like the lead person on that in the state. It's like one thing at a time.
All right.
And the ambulance billing is way more important than this right now. So maybe we'll tackle that next time, once we get the ambulance billing thing squared away.
The question was just, how we're doing on that.
Yeah, no, try to, yeah, that was.
Trying to move that forward. Okay. I have more questions.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Okay.
Go on.
The cell tower, any news on more attendance going on that tower?
No, but the rate is, I forget what an anniversary date is of when we started working it, but once that anniversary date, I think it's in September, rolls around, we get a 2.5% raise in our rent that we collect. So,
But no
That's
word on
good.
additional tenants coming on it.
I've heard of some people that are exploring it, but the company, Wireless Edge, hasn't contacted me saying, oh, no, someone else is coming in. It took probably 3 or 4 years to get AT&T lined up and squared away. I'm not in that business, so I don't know how long it takes things like that to get worked out.
There'd be obvious hardware additions to that
Oh,
tower
yeah.
if they get.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right, so it wouldn't be like they'd be adding people not
Sneaking
telling
in.
us.
Right, it was kind of
You'd
what.
notice.
You're right.
They won't put us, we'll make it look like a
Good
tree.
point.
Well, I didn't know how that all works.
Yeah, we can make it look like the tree on 106.
You're right.
And then you hired a new firefighter?
Yes, Peter Sargent. He started yesterday on shift. He actually started the week before doing orientation, but yesterday was his first day on shift, and
What's
it
his-
worked out fine.
What's his qualifications?
He's fully certified. He's working on his EMTA, but he's already an EMT basic, and I think he's just got to pass the test right now, right? Or is it?
I think we have to do a refresh. We started talking about that yesterday and we got sidetracked, but I believe we need to just get him into a refresher. And then
Okay.
he can.
Well, the refresher's coming up, so
Yeah,
we can.
and I think we were gonna try to right away do that, the tutoring like we did with our other firefighter.
Yep.
It was, for the low cost, it was very effective, so I think we'll do the same thing for Peter.
Yep.
Well, and then I see we lost 2 call firefighters,
Yes.
so we continue to struggle.
But
I hired one today, and we have another interview for another one, paramedic, on Monday. EMT.
On-call EMT,
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, both EMTs,
that's good.
Nice.
which is, well, we need everything, but we don't really have any calling EMTs anymore. We have one left.
I was reading the write-up of that fire in Wakefield from, was it yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
And you look at the fire departments that responded, and you're going, well, these small little towns, most of them are probably call or volunteer. And the amount of companies that had to come. And then you saw the video out online of showing all the trucks lining the road down there, and access to the site was difficult. And you appreciate the fact that what seems like I don't want to say small fire, it was a residential fire, but getting the people you need to is tough.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
most of those call departments, when they're responding to a fire like that, they only have 1 or 2 guys in the truck. So
Yeah.
they bring more stuff that gets in the way than.
Plus, you saw those fire trucks sitting there, and you're like, they don't need the truck, they just need the firefighters who
Right.
came in the
Right.
truck.
Yeah.
And,
They come in their car and
and-
be just as effective.
and they commented about, Monday morning, your firefighters are all at work, so
Yeah.
there's not a lot of them available.
That's right.
And then it's like everything that could go, everything that could be an impediment, the weather was bad, the road conditions were bad.
Years ago, and Michael, of course, years ago, when I was on there, me and Mike, and God, would we have 40-something people,
So,
volunteers?
one time we had
42.
45.
Yeah, sometimes 45. And you go to a structure fire at night, you'd see at least 30 people there, 30 volunteers, yeah.
Right?
I think even when I got hired, we had 15, 18 active people.
Yeah,
And
it's, it's quite a, well, it's quite a thing to bring them up to speed where they have to be now.
it's a lot hard,
Yeah,
a lot
it
more
is.
time now.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
It's
time,
unfortunate.
for somebody's life, so.
Well, but back in our day, we had local businesses that supported
Yeah,
releasing them and coming out during the day, and
yeah,
it's a
Bonnie and
different time
Gordon, I
now.
think there was probably 6, 7 people that worked there.
Oh, at least, yeah.
They used to let them go, yeah.
So it reminded me to be appreciative of, the fire department that we have, and then our location where we have other full-time fire station, departments nearby, as compared to being out in these small towns with all your mutual aid as other small towns.
Sure, we work very collaboratively with the surrounding fire departments. I mean, none of the fire departments around us could survive on our own. And so whenever any one of us have a fire, we're all going to it. It's just,
And one of the most important things you can do as chiefs or people is maintain that relationship. Because they're gonna be your bread and butter now during the day.
Right.
Um,
Well, anyway, it's
Well, you reaffirm, your on-call guys are working further away too, so they can't respond. If they're working in Concord, they're not gonna respond up here.
Exactly, that's where the jobs are.
Or Manchester or Boston.
yeah, they're all over, for sure.
all right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Those are all the questions I
Okay.
had, Paul.
You got anything more?
I just had a question only because it may have been asked before, but A1 struck by a plow.
Yep.
How bad is the damage?
It's A2.
A2.
Oh,
Did we
so
put
they-
A?
It says that was a typo. It was A2, was at Irwin's for service, and while it was sitting there, somebody with a plow came by and whacked it, scratched the door, the compartment door, and broke the mirror.
So we're not in here.
No, it
Oh,
was,
it
it
was
was,
up there.
we had just dropped it off 15 minutes prior, and they called notified, it was one of their employees driving a private vehicle, but it was their employee driving it, so they said, we'll just take care of it. They actually just dropped it off right after lunch today,
Oh, wow.
so they have it, they should be right back tomorrow.
I thought it was somebody hit it here.
No.
No, well, no, I just.
Yeah, the scratch was probably 2 feet
So it's
long.
more superficial than.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a deeper scratch, but yeah.
No, but it's not-
There was no dent.
Door still works.
The door still works,
Yeah.
there was no dent or anything like
Can't
that.
see who's
And you
behind
said
it.
a mirror?
Yeah, the left rear view mirror.
Just the
Driver's side.
mechanism that closes and opens, like the mirror's fine, it all works, but like when you're at highway speeds, it'll fold in now, like the
So
clicker.
some duct tape holding it up.
Yeah. About a $1,200 mirror, I'm sure.
It's on
Every mirror I ever broke, that's what it cost.
Yeah.
And it's on an intergalactic band order, and you can't get the part, right?
We have a zip tie and some tape on it right now working, so.
I was gonna say that and joking.
No, we really
You
do.
really do.
No, we use painter's tape, so we wouldn't use the
Okay, let's move on. Old business.
Just one note on department happenings. This year, again, we participated in raising money for the children's auction. And we did it the Saturday after Thanksgiving at the Tanger Outlet, and I believe we raised $1,100.
Somewhere right around
Yeah.
there. yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Good job.
Nice. Good job.
Travis works hard on that.
Yes, he does. Does a good
Does a
job.
great job.
Good. Nice. The who?
Oh, you wanna go back to,
Oh, yeah, okay. Go back to the building committee.
yeah, so, the last building committee meeting, we reviewed the, Lorero Center Street, evaluation, and you have a copy of that there, and I think you received it as well earlier in the.
Doesn't it just seem like a repeat?
I emailed it out as well.
So, The committee, I think was disappointed in what Lorero provided from the standpoint that they spent a lot of effort trying to figure out how much space they would need for parking. And when they determined that, then the realization was there wasn't enough left for a fire station, so they didn't really go any farther. And it would have been nice to have seen, what's the minimum footprint that a building would need to be there, regardless of how many stories it was, based on those 3 zones for hot, medium, and cold, and keeping the different functions together, and what needed to be on the first floor, so what would be the smallest footprint that you could get all that, in addition to having our 3 or 4 bays there. And we didn't really get that from them.
But, the day after that meeting, I did call Aurora and had a discussion with them and asked them that specific question. And they said they needed about 7,000 square feet on the first floor to get all the support functions and the apparatus that we were requiring to be in that area.
So a building could fit on
Yeah,
the
so
property.
without parking, you can fit a building on it. But
So then the committee then posed the question, the town owns the 2 parking lots on either side, and so the question was, if you looked at the 3 parcels together, could you put 7,000 square foot, or whatever the building size is, and rework the parking so that you would get, as the town would end up with as many spaces as they have now, and we could get the 12 spaces we needed. And if so, would that be worthy of spending some time chatting with the town of Tilton about whether we would want to look at that whole section back there and figure out a better way to do parking and whatnot? So the committee tasked me with bringing that up with the commissioners to see if the commissioners wanted to run that by the town and see what they think. I can give you my thoughts on that, but I don't know if you want to
Go
ask a
ahead.
question first.
Go ahead.
I don't want to monopolize the conversation. I want everyone to.
I get a feeling the town is just looking, they want that piece of property.
They do want to.
Yeah.
We know that.
And I think they're gonna do anything they can do to fight us.
Well, I don't know if they would do anything.
Maybe not fight us, but, I don't know,
I mean, one of the other things that came up was the old post office property, which has got a little town parking lot next to it. And it's like, all right, if you bought that property and did your land swap for that parking with the current Center Street station, could you put a station over there? Well, that piece of property is not that much bigger either. And again, for me, you go back to if you were looking at the town of Tilton and you picked a geographical place to put a station and you said, no, right here downtown Center Street, this is a great place to put a station, would you pick that piece of property to put it on? And I don't think a committee would select that piece of property because they would say it's not big enough. You have, how do you put more doors in there and be able to pull trucks in and out and back them in? And you've got.
You're talking the station now.
Right, right. The location is right for the calls, but it's not the right location for a fire station.
That's right.
So it's like, do you want to push forward with the town and have that discussion, or would you get to the point where you would, that's not where we should continue to look to put a fire station?
Okay, I'll tell you. My thought is, we've spent enough money, we've tried every location that's asked. None of them seem to work. And I know down there, people are gonna fight about down in Northfield, because that's the way it is, but it's got the land. Does it have enough room? Well, you can go up another story if you had to. There's always an option. I mean, you ever go up 2 or 3 stories here, why not go up 2 up there? You gotta take the roof off anyhow, why not go up a story? My thought is, we can keep going on and on and on, but there again, we've exhausted about
Another
every
year
place.
goes by.
Yeah, we've exhausted every place and we've done everything people have asked. We've looked at Tilton School property, we looked at by John Mansfield, we've researched this. How much more do we want to spend? my thought is, let's go forward with that there. And I know people aren't gonna like it, but, you know, we've done everything possible. We've tried every place possible.
I just pulled up that parcel. And I'm not really good at geometry. But it does look like a bigger lot. And
Yeah.
here's that lot, and it's like 119 by,
Yeah.
call it, I mean, one side's 195, one side's 199, so 197.
Well, one of the questions, or part of the discussion that came up about the old post office lot was, if you put the building far enough back so you had an apron in front of it, like you should,
Yeah.
then you don't have enough property there. You know, and you're not pulling your trucks out in the middle of, what's that street coming down the hill there?
Prospect.
Prospect Street, so you can,
Well, you can make, well, you could pull your trucks out on the Prospect and then the signalized, the Opticon. would
no,
fit
but
that.
as far as, you know, if you were building a fire station, you'd wanna be able to park the trucks in front of the station to do
Yeah,
all
well,
the,
yeah, you got the.
all the work that you need to do when you're
I
going
mean,
through all your
we
equipment.
park them in the middle of Center Street now, but I think there'd be a problem if we parked them in the middle of
I
Prospect.
think it is.
Depends if I'm going to work or not.
So yes, the piece of property is larger, but,
No, it's,
I mean, I think if you go back to some of these committees in the
No, but you
past,
gotta
and they
do
said,
that.
what's the ideal lot size? You know, you're looking at more than an acre. And here, you're looking at point whatever.
.22.
yeah, no, it's, I mean, the lot is probably the size of the station is to be. but-
You know, and it's not like you can, like, we'll just take the lean-to off the building and we'll put a bigger lean-to on and we'll be able to fit an ambulance in it, and that'll solve our problem. That doesn't take care of any of the
No,
issues, other than getting another truck there. And then you'd lose more parking than it should have. You know, we don't have enough parking there.
So how does the building committee feel?
I guess I would sum it up, if there was an easy solution, we would have already found it.
Well, I'm sure we will, yeah.
I think there's some of the feeling is that, you know, well, it's an easier sell to sell Center Street than it is to sell Park Street or Sanborn Road. And that was part of what made that property attractive. But in reality, it's not really a good solution.
I mean, it's,
And it's certainly not going to be a less expensive solution. Because now you're going to build multiple stories and have to have an elevator and staircases, and what happens if it has to be 3 stories? You know? And then, you know, and then what do you do with the current operation of the fire department for 18 or 24 months while you're tearing that building down and building another one?
yeah.
And what cost is involved with that? Where are you gonna put them?
Well, you have to rent buildings and make room down there, I would think.
Something, right. So, that, you know, there's a lot involved. It's not like, you know, having an empty lot like Sanborn Road where you can just build and it doesn't affect your current day-to-day operation.
because you build it and then whatever happens over here happens.
Right. So I think that, you know, that was some of the attractiveness, that we resolved some issues, but it didn't resolve all of them. Is it enough to move forward with? And of course, we haven't even gotten to the cost side. It was an interesting idea,
It sounded like a nice idea at the time.
but I don't think, my opinion is in reality, it's not a good place to spend a whole bunch of
Well,
money.
it's not in there, but, you know, if you keep growing, it's really not, it's not big enough. Even if you could do something right now, it wouldn't be big enough in the future.
Right.
Can there be a Band-Aid put on it?
That's just say build a parking garage.
Can it be remodeled? I mean, again, I speak for myself only, that what's gonna happen to the forces? We know that the most important thing we can do is keep 4 people together, no matter what we do. What's gonna happen in the future? is 2 stations the way to do it? How long is it gonna take us? Because if we're gonna have 2 stations, they need to be manned, and Park Street and Salmon Road's a good idea. But I don't think we could get that accepted right now. We've been at this a long
No,
time.
and all
For God's
those, all
sakes,
those
can we
things.
put a Band-Aid on it till we figure out what we're doing? Yep, we're gonna throw money out the window, but guess what? We're stuck in a station that was built in the 1800s. Samberton's already talking about rebuilding theirs, you know,
It's all the same
in a
conversations
department
that
that's
we've
4 times
had
as busy.
time and time again.
You know, the communities, you know, what direction are we gonna be, and what are we gonna have to have for people in the future? Because, again, stations are no good without people.
Right.
And if you get enough people, then it starts making sense to spread out a little bit. But, I mean, like I say, I don't know what the answer is. I just know we haven't been able to come up with one in the 46 years I've been here.
Right.
With 9, 10, 11, 12 attempts, and
I think the same
we've got
concerns.
political issues that,
Yeah, the
that
same issues are there now that were here 10 years ago. and 40
sure they
years
were.
ago.
And so, you know, is a remodel, I don't know. I mean, I think in hearing what you said, and again, I have an opinion, certainly a conversation with the selectmen at Tilton will either open an avenue or put a nail in the coffin. Ask the question, do the due diligence, and take it off the slate or put it back on the slate, you know. At least you,
Well, I guess that's the question before the commission.
Paul's right, they're looking for parking spaces, you know.
I just feel as though it's gonna drag on and on and on. And there again, we're into another year, we're into a year after that.
Sure.
So we're talking at least 2 years now.
Given that, in my opinion, it's my opinion, personal opinion, you're gonna have 2 stations in the long run, and I think that's the only way to really sell it. But it's gonna take some time to get there, because it's not gonna happen this year. Nothing was gonna go to at the very earliest until next year's district meeting. If you show up at next year's district meeting, this is our plan. We're gonna build on Sanborn Road, and we're gonna renovate Park Street. But we're gonna build a Sanborn Road first, and when that's done, we're gonna take the leftover money, or whatever is appropriated, so we can renovate Sanborn Road, Park Street, and when that's done, we're gonna hire 8 guys and staff it. But that's, so you're talking like 5 years maybe from things. So it's a progression. We gotta do this, then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. And at the end of it, we're gonna have 2 man stations that are gonna serve the fire district very well with great response times for more than 80% of the fire district.
See, I would turn around and say to you, I would say to you personally, okay, you wanna, I agree, we should do that. However, build in Northfield, make that the main station. Maybe in the next year, the year after, we'll purchase that and build a substation up there. That's the way I would look at it. There again, we know the majority of the calls are in this section.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
and that's maybe not even a bad plan, except it adds complexity to it because you have, what are we gonna do with all the stuff that we have there now while you're
Renovating that?
renovating or tearing?
Well, you
I
still
think
got,
the
I mean,
easy idea
this
is to
station's
tear-
always, it's gonna be here. It's just a matter of finding where to put the apparatus up.
Yeah, you got 6, 7 pieces of equipment down there.
With the tanker, the ladder, the
Where you
engine,
gonna-
the
where you gonna put
ambulance,
those in the winter?
rescue, all the equipment that's in there as well. I think Lorero, when they looked at it, they said they don't want to renovate it. They want to clean it off the slate and start from scratch because there's so many issues with it. But even if they don't clean it off the slate, the roof's coming off, the floor is coming out. I mean, they're just saving the walls maybe.
Yeah, to make it more I'm not gonna speculate on, I'm not an architect.
So
And
I'm
you're
just
right,
trying to think of the
I-
logistics and how it would flow, easiest way to flow.
I agree with you, looking in the future, maybe another station. However, I would do just the opposite though. The main station down here and the substation up there. And maybe within next year or the year after, we purchase, they want to swap. Once that's done, then we'll make a deal on the land up there with this here.
I don't think that'd be out of the question. I just think it's a matter of, logistics and trying to figure it all out and see how it would work.
I'm sure, there's gotta be a way to,
Can I just pivot slightly? In a perfect world, when would you see the department adding 2 more guys and another 2 more guys? You said 8.
Yeah, so you
When does the call
staff an
volume
ambulance.
justify having 8?
It justifies it now, in my opinion. But that's not the norm in this area.
Right.
If you go down to even just down to Hooksett, their staffing is 7 people per shift, and they only do about 300 or 400 more calls than we do. And they staff 2 stations.
Whatever happened with just adding living quarters or some type of an office to the current building? What happened to that? There's an 8-foot wall that was put in there. Do we know?
So if you add it to the building, you're gonna have to bring the whole building up to code, and their engineering report had something about, I don't remember exactly, but a new building next to it is gonna affect the building next to it,
It's going to be
the
a
current
roof
station.
load issue on the current roof.
So are we in a station right now that's dangerous? Sounds like we've got to tear it down now.
Well, it's not. No, I think one
I'm
of
exaggerating.
right. No, one of the comments was if you butted another building up to it and then you tied in the roofs and you created a valley, that potentially you would overload the roof on the current building. Although the new building would have a be built to the load requirements, but.
I think if you touch the old building,
Well, but I think the other thing that the committee is thinking, and I think I'm thinking, is, if we're going to build something, I mean, I understand the Band-Aid thing, and I right, taking down the lean-to and being able to get another ambulance over here, that would be a huge benefit day to day, so you don't have to run down to get the other ambulance.
Right.
But that doesn't resolve all the other safety issues, and I think
No question.
I think the chief, stated it quite elegantly last meeting, that it's his job to make sure that we're running a proper.
No question. No question.
And so can you ask the taxpayers to spend any amount of money if you're not going to build a proper station
That's going to last.
that's gonna last?
Yeah.
And the other thing, I know the task of the committee is to look at our current issues, not anything in the future. But the other thing you have to think about is that any building that we build is probably going to be used for at least 50 years, probably longer. And so that's the other thing.
Right,
That
so
you have
people will
to-
say it's not realistic to be planning 50 years out, but it's like, you're right, we're gonna be in this building 50 years from now.
you
Yeah.
have
No
to,
question.
you have to plan. You can't just build.
We said that in 1977, where we're gonna be. We're gonna plan on 40 years. We've never planned on 46 or 50, to be in the same spot that we're in.
It'd be irresponsible to build a building to only last 20 years.
Absolutely.
Right,
So as soon as you pay it off, you gotta.
and I think one of the hard, this is just me speaking personally, one of the hard sells, and I think you're right, at some point in the future, I don't know if it's 10 years or 50 years from now, there'll need to be 2 stations here. So if you're selling a project to the taxpayers and say, all right, phase 1 is a building over here, and phase 2 is gonna be the second building over here, and at that point we'll have 8 full-time guys on, And it's gonna cost, this phase is gonna cost this amount, and we don't know how much that phase is gonna cost because it's gonna be 2, 5, 20 years down the road. And if you give them that number based on you're gonna build that in 5 years, is the dollar amount gonna be so high you end up with not getting anything again?
Exactly.
Well, I'm not gonna vote on that because once, how long are you gonna bond that for? Well, 15 years, well then, we're gonna pick up another bond to build this one in 5 years or 10 years? And then how are we gonna pay for 4 more guys? I'm hearing all.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But
So how do you sell phase 1? I mean, 'cause that was part of
As soon
that
as you say 8 guys.
Manville Road project was 2 stations. And that
well,
was too much
but they
money.
got to get ready to reality. 'Cause we started with 45. We're down to 12, and they're tougher to get. And we'd get maybe 1 or 2 guys here during the day. The reality's going to come. It's going to get hit. We're going to continue to promote and get all the call people we can. But
The pool is just not there.
the pool is not there, and we can't get people to paint walls or do any manual labor right now. How many applications did we have for full-time? 4?
Was it either 4 or 5? I can't,
Yeah.
4,
We had 4. Used to get 60,
4 and 1 oral inquiry.
yes,
Yeah.
that was
And
right, yes.
So, unfortunately, that's all changing. And,
I knew there
and
was 5, but-
I have my opinions on where the world's going, but everybody wants to design a new way for me to turn my air conditioner on or open my garage door, and that seems to be the focus. Nobody wants to twist a wrench and fix a car, paint a wall, or hang sheetrock.
You want to make sure you can do it with this.
Exactly.
You can't put
And
fires out with this.
so,
So the question.
but anyways, that's sidetracking, my apologies.
The committee asked the commissioners to discuss it, and their recommendation was that we approach the town of Tilton. So,
You so approach the town of Tilton.
about whether we should, whether they would be open to of looking at those 3 lots together to figure out if we can put a building and maintain the number of spaces plus add the spaces that the fire department needs.
So there again, really all you're doing is putting a Band-Aid on it.
Well, building a new building. yeah, but-
It's still doing a Band-Aid because it's not big enough to,
Right,
it's not gonna be big enough to house
Correct.
everything. So you're doing a Band-Aid.
But
right.
Band-Aid's the only thing that I think hasn't been tried
Yes,
yet.
okay, I'll agree to your terminology.
Yeah. No, he's not wrong.
No, he's not
It's an expensive Band-Aid, but what's gonna work?
So what's gonna happen is, if it did pass, the Band-Aid effect, you still got vehicles down there and vehicles up here. You're not really solving anything, because eventually, you're gonna have to do something else.
Well, I don't think that you're wrong in saying that eventually, yeah, you're gonna have to have a substation somewhere. But what you are gonna resolve is you're gonna give the firefighters the second ambulance that will help with response times. And you're going to resolve all those life safety issues that we have at the building, both for, the firefighters and the other employees, and then
Anyone who walks in the
anyone who
building.
comes in off the street. So you're gonna resolve those issues.
But you still don't have all the equipment. to
You
do it.
don't have all the
Yeah,
equipment.
so,
You gotta remember, we're dealing with people that don't wanna pay for fire hydrants.
I understand.
I pay my insurance every year and have for 40 years and spent $40,000 paying for insurance that I've never used once on my home. And I hope I never
can't
have to.
say that out
And we got people, that don't want fire hydrants.
Yeah.
That's our clientele. That's who we're trying to sell to. And it makes it difficult.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult. Being a Tilton resident, I'm very thankful for the tax rate situation in Tilton.
Yeah.
And I feel, we're very fortunate, and I realize that it's not quite as good in Northfield, but when you look at a lot of other towns in the state, our tax burden is pretty reasonable. But again, there are a lot of people who struggle, so.
But there's been some changes across the river where, you have UPS that's come in, Spalding has added some facilities, but are they not for profit, or are they?
I don't know. but if they pay taxes on it?
I don't
I
believe they
don't
do.
know.
I don't believe they
There
do.
are schools that probably don't.
I don't believe they do.
Yeah. But I mean, you've gotten, I mean, there's, 140's the next area to get built up. But there's not a lot buildable out there either because there's a lot of wetlands out there too.
But you got 80 housing units going in off across Bill.
Yeah, they're a little lower now, I think they're down to 35 buildings, 70 units. Yep.
Excuse me,
Yep.
yes, 70 units. I mean,
Way over there.
I don't know, what do people wanna hear?
You go up
Do they
across.
wanna
You have to go
hear a
into
Band-Aid
Franklin.
till this all settles in and we figure out how we keep spreading out in both
Well,
communities?
I think, this year we're gonna talk about whether we wanna have water or not.
Exactly.
We can't decide that we wanna have water, let alone have a building.
That's right.
It's not funny. It's sad that we're in this position, because it's just
Agreed.
costing everybody money.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Does the Veterans Home pay any money to the town or the fire department?
Well, we get money from transports there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not like the state it generates a certain amount
No,
of
it's
money
a,
just for.
no,
services.
they don't make a donation to the town. I think up in Plymouth, they help offset some of the costs because there's a lot of, tax-free land up there, but it puts a burden on town services. I think they.
PSU pays it in lieu of taxes.
Yeah.
All the state colleges pay it in lieu of taxes.
Yeah.
Some. I don't know what it is, but.
But even like in other towns, like I know in Lincoln, they've had some development come in, and some of those developments have bought pieces of ladder trucks and things. So
Similar to impact fees.
yeah, but they just volunteered it because hey, we want to have that 5-story building. Well, we need 100-foot ladders and a 75-foot ladder or whatnot.
And that's the hot button to get it approved.
Ladder's cheap, it's the personnel put on it.
Well,
That's expensive.
Yeah, but they're I don't,
I don't know what Lincoln's called about.
they're called, but they again they have a lot of
They
local
don't do
business.
ambulance.
No, that was private
Separate,
ambulance.
Now I think they have staffing for that. People take shifts, 12-hour shifts. But they have 3 ambulances. Now think about that. Town like Lincoln has 3. Well, Lincoln was.
Let's Lincoln Woodstock.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I assume, and I don't know, because I don't know it's kind of like Maltboro when they talk about ambulances. They have hour and a half long transport times by the time they go to the hospital and get back. We can get to Franklin and back in 8 minutes,
Yeah.
10 minutes, They go to a medical call, they're gone for 2 hours, they need it.
Yeah. No. It's,
We have trouble turning around. I can't imagine driving an hour to get 45 minutes to your hospital.
it depends if you're going to Littleton or you're going to Plymouth. It's still not a
Yeah.
We need lots
easier,
of
Long drive.
especially on a snowy day.
Well, I like I said, I've said my piece, and you know where I stand, so. I hate to just Band-Aid something, because what's gonna happen is if it did pass, now you got renovate this station, you got that station, and then if they wanna put a substation, you got 3 stations now. Or a bond, you got an empty bond, or bond down there. Garage. It needs to be all together, simple as that. I mean, a lot of your towns, you take Meredith, and look what Meredith did to their station. They got less land than we did. They seemed to add on more bays and everything, made it work.
But they also have a substation.
Yeah, but they have Meredith Center Road too.
Yeah.
So
They do have a small substation here.
I don't know how well it's used, but I don't know if that's where old fire trucks go to retire. I don't know.
They only have one career firefighter there too.
Meredith.
Yeah, it's a call department. But they're looking at hiring now because they can't fulfill
So
their
call
requirements.
department, so they don't have a station with housing and.
The center station does have a small housing area, and that's where they keep their students.
Well, I guess, so how?
And they don't run the ambulance either.
How does the committee want to respond back to the building committee?
What do you think, Eric?
I'm trying to figure it out because I'm lost now.
Huh?
I'm lost now. I mean,
Well, and, you know.
I kind of wish Lorero had given us a little bit more information. I mean, it looks like they just pulled up a GIS map and said, okay, this, you know, and read the town bylaws, what you need for this, but, you know, didn't even try to pigeonhole something in there just to see,
Right.
you know, what fits. And I kind of would like to know, can we fit something there? But I also know,
We can fit something there, but we have to take other land for
yeah,
other stuff. You know, for
take the
parking.
water department, tear down their building and just walk across the tracks.
Careful what you say.
I think it, you know, I think ultimately whatever we do, it's gonna come down to cost. And I think wherever, we need to kind of focus the effort on what can be done, wherever it's gonna cost us the least amount. Which I think, based on what we've been told, what we've heard so far, is
But if you would have asked the selectmen, hey, what do you think of this idea? Absolutely not, we gotta have that space, boom, there's your nail in the coffin, take it off the table.
well,
If you ask the question.
how can I say this?
Now, it becomes more difficult
Well,
if they say.
no, there's, I hate to use the word politics, but there's politics involved in this.
Of course there is.
Especially with the Sanborn Road piece of property. And there's gonna be a major change here in Town Hall. And I think we may lose an ally to get, to facilitate that process of happening. Did I dance around that issue delicately?
You did.
So, well, it's actually public knowledge.
What does it
so-
say, isn't it public now?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that don't know, Jeannie Forrester resigned effective December 31st. So that's an ally of ours to help guide the ship to what we want. But you know, there's going to be a new person coming in, and they may, you know, someone may bend their ear and say, you know, this, you need to, you know, what are your thoughts on this piece of property? Oh yeah, you know, it should be open space, blah blah blah. Okay, well now, that as you just said, that's another nail in the coffin. I don't know, because we don't have any type of agreement in writing or anything. We don't have a purchase
Do
and
not
sale.
have, we don't have anything in writing, it's just a verbal agreement with
Yeah.
Sanborn Road.
And they were gonna put something together,
Yes.
and we haven't seen anything.
I don't know if we will. I do know they have 2 more meetings this year, but that's it. 14th and 21st. And I think the 21st is more of a cookie thing. I just watched the meeting from them over the weekend, so.
Did you get your answer?
No, yeah, sorry.
You got my answer anyhow.
Well, I'm not opposed to, you know, going to the select board and having a conversation.
I don't mind you going there and having a conversation with
But
them.
it won't be this year. I don't think you'll get on their agenda for this year. I know they were saying how packed the 14th is, which leaves the 21st. I don't think it's going to be their move. I think it's supposed to be like a holiday thing. Yeah. I heard cookies mentioned. Everyone gets jacked up on sugar, maybe.
I just don't think it's, even if they did do something for you, it's not the answer.
All right.
It's a Band-Aid. It's not really the answer to get what you want to get. That's going to be 50 years. Yeah, you might be able to keep it 50 years, but it's not big enough. It's not big enough to house everything. It's not big enough for the people in there. And if you got to hire more people, then it's surely not big enough. So, I mean, if you want to go and talk to me, I have no problem with that.
I think there's 2 issues there. One is, right, is the town interested in working with us on that? Or would they not be supportive? But two, I think if you, what's the scenario you're gonna give to the taxpayers for a station? And if you were looking at a separate station, Park Street versus maybe a smaller main station at Sanborn Road, keeping Park Street, or putting a new station downtown requiring you to keep Park Street. I don't think any one of those is clearly less expensive than the other. And in my mind, the cost to build at Center Street with all the other issues that would go around it is probably one of the more expensive solutions, if not the most expensive solution. And then, as you say, it's a Band-Aid because you don't have all your equipment there. And then you also have all the other issues with, you know, you're going to probably have to park the trucks too deep, and then you still have to deal with getting out onto Center Street and backing
Down the alley.
trucks back in, and
Yeah.
you know, you're right, there's a lot of issues with the Band-Aid. And I think it's going to be a very expensive
I
Band-Aid.
think it is good.
But anyway, the committee has asked. That's their request to the commissioners.
And there again, like I said, my approach would be, let's concentrate on that. And maybe within 4 to 5 years or whatever, it don't even have to be years. And if you can say in the near future, if you want to purchase land, we can work out a deal with purchasing land with them up here. You know, you want that there? You tear it down, you can have it, you give us the land. Then you got a piece of land, you can always. I mean, you could build a station, you hold on to that, and they still get nothing.
The building committee's meeting next Monday.
Yeah. Well, you're not gonna get on the, even if you wanna speak with the select board, you're not gonna have an answer next Monday. If we don't have I'm not even sure it's worth meeting right now, unless, if the commission make a decision, we're not going to the selectmen, then we have stuff to discuss, where we're gonna go. If the commissioners wanna speak to the selectmen, we're kinda hanging on to find out what the selectmen think about this, and our next meeting is in January or something like that, or 11th or something.
And I think that the other frustration that the committee has, and well, hopefully the chief would see it the same way I do, or at least comment on how he sees it, is I think there's maybe a little frustration that the task of the committee keeps changing. And, you know, maybe not as much guidance from the commissioners as would be helpful.
Well, it keeps changing because you bring up a solution and we have to look into it. And that's one reason why it keeps changing.
Well, and we agreed to.
You're right, because we're only doing what's right. It's the right thing to do.
So I think it's important that we reply back to the, I think it's important that we have some sort of agreement to go back to the committee with.
There has been an issue that some members of the committee have raised, that, you know, we're gonna do this, now we're gonna do this, now we're gonna do this, now we wanna look at this.
Yeah.
It's like,
It keeps going. That's why you should focus on one thing. And if it does not work, we're gonna have to come up with another solution. And it could take
So-
another 3-4 years. I mean, how many more things we gotta look at? I mean, there could be a piece of land tomorrow down the road there, big enough to build a station on it. You never know, right?
If we look at Park Street, I know, like, we've gotten, site work.
site assessment.
Site assessment, what's gonna take to build there, and what the potential costs are gonna be. But there's some other things that we have to think about. There's a gas line that's down there. What's that gonna do? Is it buildable? Does that gas line have to be moved, and what's the expense to move that gas line? because I believe that gas line goes underneath the station.
There's two gas lines. One that goes around behind the fire station.
No, but there's one that goes directly from a pole or near a pole across the lawn
To the
to,
south side.
to the tower.
Yep.
So,
And there's also high voltage electrical right beside it.
okay, so can we build over those? I don't know. So if that's gonna cost $250,000 to remedy, I need to know that. Because that's gonna determine, well, okay, is it worth it? Because, yes, there's things, there was a post on Facebook that you made when there was a fire.
Kimball. I deleted, the one I deleted a bunch of comments from?
I don't know, there was one that Kevin Walter asked.
Kimball Road, yeah.
How far?
How far? But if that fire happened to be on, what's the name of that road down there?
Which one?
Ashulet or something down.
Ashulet?
Yeah, down in that.
Ashulet's down that way.
Yeah.
Right, down to that end of the town, because again, you don't know where fire's gonna happen, you know? So, it would've been a different response time if you were on Sanborn Road than if you're down here. You know, and those, I understand the whole response time thing, but it's, you know, again, for me, you know, what's it gonna cost me? And I think that's a lot of people, because I'm reading things about how people now are having a tough time making ends meet and paying their taxes and not have, you know, are they gonna have to move? Are they not gonna have to move? But then I also think about the future of where the trend is of building in Tilton, and it's going down Route 3. You know, there's a proposal around the area of Valvoline across the street that would be, you know, mixed use 2 type thing that someone's trying to get done. You know, you have the hotel. I know hotels personally don't really generate as much as people think they are, unless, you know, they this doesn't. You know, someone slips and falls in a shower. That's a different story. But they don't. You know, it's not. You know, it's not as maybe more police calls because of theft and things like that. But that's not something for this to worry about. And I think, you know, you're going to have other things that happen down there, because usually when you have one thing, it encourages growth in other ends of town, towards that end of town. But, you know, there's a couple things for me that I'd like to know about the Park Street location, because I do like that location, because again, most of our calls are within, you're not really moving, you're not really changing things too much, because, I don't know, what is it, 8/10 of a mile?
No, yeah, something like
What
9
you-
cents.
what you're doing going to Park Street is you're making 2/3 of your calls 2 minutes longer in response time.
Right, but that's a 2/3 of our calls, that's a lot of calls.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I understand, you know, someone somewhere, no matter what you do, is gonna be affected by it, but if, you know, if only 1/3 of our calls, it's gonna increase it more, well, maybe that's something we have to look at, but, you know, those two things, those two utilities, I think for me are gonna determine if I think we should pursue that, and I don't have an answer for that.
The other thing with the utilities over that way, building, as you know, the ground slopes away. You have to, if you're gonna build on that side of the property, you have to build a retaining wall to level the lot.
Well, it's gonna be, I think, we were already told initially it's gonna be I'm just gonna call it $1 million more to build just before you start going up from the ground. Just to get the ground level is gonna cost $1 million. You know, the other, sorry, I'm probably gonna throw another wrinkle into this, but you have to look at what Northfield's gonna do, because they're gonna be looking to build a new police station. You know, is that gonna open up the highway side of it? Maybe they're gonna build a complex over Johnson Road, thank you. You know, maybe they might build something over there. Now might that land become available? So maybe we should be talking to the Northfield selectmen. you know, hey, are you gonna be building, are you gonna be looking to move? Because that would go the other way, and well, now we got a whole lot more land there.
Where's Johnson?
It's off of,
Sergeant's.
off of Sergeant,
Where the
behind
dump
the
is.
Where the
Tilton.
dump is.
Yeah,
The,
where their transfer
Knoxville dump,
stations.
Transfer station, yeah. It's not a dump, it's a transfer station.
You know, so that's, but again, I'm not trying to throw another wrinkle into the, because they're only, I think they're only preliminary talking about a new police station, but.
Well, and the other one that you didn't bring up is if you're working down there on Park Street, where are you gonna put all the equipment for 12, 18, 24 months while you're under construction?
I'm sure you'd find a place. I mean, there's answers to everything.
No, but there's a cost to that too.
Yeah, I agree, but, yeah, I agree.
Because are you gonna move that equipment someplace and there's all the other equipment that you need gonna be reinstalled so you can use it?
I understand.
One thing,
Contamination equipment and SBA equipment and all that, the equipment that's down there. You'd have to-
one thing that
move it
I
and
remember a
have-
couple of years ago, Kevin LaChapelle said that you're not gonna get buy-in if you build with Park Street. You're not gonna get buy-in unless you say something is in the, you can't say, well, in 20 years, we're gonna build a substation, because you're not gonna get buy-in from the town, the Tilton residents on that. They want to know that I'm approving something that now gets the ball rolling, that, okay, maybe we have to build that substation first to resolve that issue over there. And if we do that, you know, you have to build the substation first to be able to house your equipment while you're building your bigger station.
And I think his statement's correct, because if you're gonna tell me you're gonna move, you know, 2-3 minutes further away from 70% of the funds that you receive and 70% of the call volume, you're not gonna get my support on it unless you got Plan B. Then I'm willing to listen.
But Plan B has to be part of a package,
Absolutely.
you know.
But wasn't that the Manville Road was?
Yes.
Was
It was
that,
an all-inclusive project that was gonna
and the
cost
problem there
about
ended up,
$7 million.
was the cost?
Sure.
But look at what a deal that is.
But a home costs $500,000 now, you know.
Look,
If you're lucky.
Where?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No,
we proposed
that was
Was it
a
5
brand new
million, 7
fire
million?
station over there and a total 100% rehab over here on Park Street for $7 million.
The other thing to look at is, you know, all the new construction that's up that way is most of it's all sprinkled. It's got state-of-the-art equipment in it. The town of Tilton in Northfield, a lot of the buildings are not sprinkled. You have the veterans home, you have a couple of elderly places around here where there are a lot of people around here. So, you know,
Let's
But-
face it, what we really are is an EMS department.
Exactly.
that does
70% of our call volume is EMS.
yeah, so the,
And
you know, it's,
so response time EMS wise is really what's more important than the fire side wise, because let's also realize that what we have on staff for firefighting is inadequate all the time.
That's what you
100% of the time, it's inadequate for any structural fire of any size.
Can I ask
Go
just a
ahead.
quick sidebar? When I see the calls come in and then they have, I forget the exact terminology, but when you're calling in backup firefighters to the station,
Like
Recall?
an emergency recall?
yes.
Yep.
How many guys do you usually get? How successful is that?
Couple, 3,
Depends what it's for.
Yeah.
sometimes none.
Depends upon what time it is.
And I mean,
Depends on
are
what
some
it's
of
for.
those call firefighters and some of those career firefighters? Or are
Yeah.
they mostly
They
all?
could be either or.
Yeah, it really depends. It
The
is
day
such
and
a,
What
who's
time
available.
of the day, what type of call it is.
Yeah, the
you
magnitude.
know, I had a fire at Wyman Gordon Monday morning, and I
Yes.
got 5 guys. I had a fire in Kimball Road 3 days before that, and I think I got 1 guy. So,
just depends on who's around and what's going on.
yeah, but it's always a mix. It's usually call personnel. But.
Clear as mud, huh?
I wish I had a better answer for
Doesn't
you.
sound like we need to make up our own minds.
This is the same conversation, just fill in the date for whatever year
Exactly.
you want. It's the same. I mean, the problem hasn't changed. The concerns and issues haven't changed.
I'm telling you, that's why you gotta make a decision and go for that and just,
We have to make a decision, that's
I agree.
commissioners.
I agree.
It is up to the commissioners to make a decision,
yeah, I agree.
one way or the other. And then move forward with whatever that is and give the direction to the building committee. This is the direction we're going in, and don't change your mind
I agree.
in 1 month.
I agree. I mean, we've changed it time and time again, and now people get, I mean, even people on the committee there, I'm sure they're getting sick of it.
Well, I think there's frustration.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a group, you can come up with all the different factions that you think are going to not support you based on, you know, the different decisions. And it's really easy to go down that rabbit hole and go, well, you know, we're never going to be able to get the taxpayers to agree to it. You know, so how do you work around that? And you know, which problem is easiest to overcome, the location or the cost, or, you know?
Well, it's like sales. I mean, you gotta sell it to them, and say it costs $7 million. Okay, it's gonna cost us $7 million. We wait another year, it's $8 million, $9 million. It's gonna just keep escalating like that. So you gotta be able to sell them that.
I think we were trying to sell them that when we were selling them Tilton School
Well,
property.
I'm sure.
But we own over there, so that land's always gonna be there. It's not like in 2 years there's gonna be a
Yep.
Dunkin' Donuts drive-through at exit 19. We own it. We're gonna own it forever. Jesus, I'm beating myself. Sanborn Road, they made us out, you know what, we need to build, you know, a mini town hall there, and all of a sudden, well, now we've lost that, and we haven't done anything yet. So if you're gonna ask me, I would say, show me what it's gonna cost to build at Park Street. Show me what can be done at Park Street. I gave you two of my bigger concerns, and that's my direction.
So your concern being the gas and
Well,
power.
I don't know, can it be moved, what's the cost of it, I guess?
I would suggest that if we're going to build at Park Street, we leave that alone and just confine ourselves from this area. This
I think
area is
there'd be
off
enough
limits.
I mean, I'm not a designer, I'm not a contractor, but it seemed to me that you could stay to the left, to the right of that.
Yeah, but does that mean you have to build a second floor? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
So, that's,
I mean, if the roof's gonna come off, then
I think that, I can't even speculate on what we may have to do. If you're looking for guidance on where to go, focus on Park Street. And then if we determine, oh, Jesus, you know, $2 million, and okay, well, then now we know.
So you're saying find out what it's going to cost to build a headquarters at Park Street?
He's
Whether
looking
it's
for
one
direction.
story, 2-story, or whatever we need to do.
Whatever we can fit on that piece of property, show me the options.
And is that tearing down the current station?
I don't know.
Or is that part of the option?
I don't know what
Leaving it there or building the?
And are you thinking that's going to be supplemented with a substation in short order, or are you thinking this is a?
Well, I think at some point, there's another turn. I mean, I think we're going to need to put something somewhere, and you know, so you're going to have to put something there. You're going to have a plan to build it there, but we don't have that agreement with the town of Tilton yet, and it may not be. With the changes that are happening in the town, it's not going to be as easy, I think, as it would have been.
And maybe I don't go to all the building committee meetings, so were the numbers that they gave us for the Park Street building not including, like, is that what, it doesn't include moving that gas? Or was that just a preliminary, that was?
They noted that the site up here at Sanborn Road would be easier to build on, so your site cost would be less.
Yes, but then they gave us numbers, right? I mean, with
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And moving the utilities that are in Park Street was not part of those
Well,
costs.
they weren't part of that, okay.
And nor was the cost of dealing with all the equipment down there.
Okay.
What do you-
I get you. Now I understand. Now and
I
that's
mean,
my ignorance.
I mean,
of
I
not
think in
knowing.
reality, if you're gonna make it, if it, logistically, if you're gonna have to build a substation, operate out of that, why you do Park Street? But
Well, and you know, based on the conversation, it more emphasizes the, you know, do you propose building 2 stations to get it to pass? So, all right, we can have a station there and a station here, so we don't have one town voting against it because the station's not in their town. And logistically, that makes it easier to build, and so now the
Problem being,
biggest issue is gonna be cost.
well, not only, the problem being, you're gonna build the substation first, then add on to this. Now, when they're both done, you're gonna have to hire more guys now. So that's gonna
Yes.
add the cost,
Yes.
another couple $1 million?
But if I present it in the fact of going, all right, we're gonna build this one, and we're not gonna wait 10 years to build that one. We're gonna build that one nearly immediately after. Then am I able to,
Why not do it vice versa?
well, I'm only thinking you build up here first so that you have a place for that equipment to go when you're rebuilding that one. Because the whole time, you still have Center Street. You don't have to give Center Street up until you're ready to.
And I understand that, and like, I just.
So even if you built up here the substation and it only had 4 bays in it, or you can get that equipment out of Park Street, so then you can build down at Park Street.
And then the following, when that's done, you're gonna have to hire more guys. People, you know,
Yes,
and
yes.
there again, we're hiring 4 guys, they know what it costs for 4 guys. You hire 4 more guys, you're gonna add that cost to it.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
Right. So you get back to the whole cost issue.
yeah.
Yes.
So I told them my philosophy is, start down there with the option to buy this. Whether we swap, deal, or something like that, that's, I mean, we have real estate there that they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sitting there. And once the station is done, then if they want to sell that to us, we can make a deal. That's my, so it's up to you to kind of,
No, I think Eric's saying, yeah, we should move forward with Park Street.
I wanna see what's gonna, yeah, I mean, I wanna get more concrete costs. Yeah. Move forward Park Street.
so when you say
You want
more,
more explanation of what it would cost to build a fire station at Park Street.
Yeah, well, yeah, because, okay, if you take option A to leave the pressure, because I believe that I don't wanna call it plan, but I think we saw some, maybe I'm hallucinating, maybe, I thought we saw something, and based on my memory of that, or whatever I have in my brain as a picture of that, went right over those utilities.
Yeah, it took up the whole,
It took up,
Whole frontage.
it took up,
it took up the
Like
whole
we
fire
were-
station and the frontage.
right, so
It was huge,
I
that's,
believe if it was a 1 station and then we had nothing else.
yeah.
If we
Right.
didn't have another station.
Yep.
right, so, but if we had this, again, I don't know, because let's look at that horse, let's beat it, and if it's still there, then it's a viable option, but, you know, if now we go, oh geez, now it's gonna be $3 million before we start going up, now we might have to, and I hate to say it, reverse, change gear, but, you know, I don't think you're gonna get that approved. And I want something that's gonna win the voters. I'm not making sense that way.
No, you're.
And the other thing is, we haven't even talked to the voters. we haven't thrown any of this out to the voters to hear what their input is and what really what really are their concerns, what are their real expectations, and what are their real, I hate to say cost factors, but, you know, what are they willing to spend? But you have to balance that with what their expectations are. You know, what are their real expectations? What do they really want?
Agreed.
They want somebody to show up in 4 minutes when they dial 911. That's what they want. But to do that, it's going to cost this much money. Okay, I'm willing to wait 10 minutes then. It's going to cost this much money. That's what it boils down to.
Well,
But those discussions kind of need to be had. Because right now, we're just going on our own assumptions and our own little circle of conversation, but we really haven't heard from the public at all.
agreed.
No, but I think if
We haven't done a survey, which I've talked about in the past, hiring, you know, UNH Center to do unbiased survey of what the citizens expect of this. And that could probably give us a lot of answers on which direction to go. And certainly having some public forums in this saying, we are stuck because we have all these solutions, but they all cost certain amounts of money and there's all different problems with each of one of them. And we don't think you will support any of them. What would you support and what are your expectations? Because we're just spinning our wheels. I mean, I can say this is what we're going to do and move forward with it, and that's fine, but it's not fine. Paul can say this is what we're going to do, and we're going to move forward with that, but that's not going to be fine. Every one of us can say this is what we're going to do, and we can all have a plan, but none of us are able to singularly make that plan come to fruition.
Or the public could say, we'll just leave it the way it is until.
Well, no, that was very nicely worded, because I think you sort of sum it up. That we've got these 3 different options, well, 3 different locations with multiple options, and we don't think any of them are going to pass.
But if you have that here, you might go, wait a minute, you know, if there's 10 people that show up and now all of a sudden, well, you know, 6 people kind of like this idea, and you know, 2 people like this one, okay, and 2 people like this one. Well, at least now it gives a little bit of a.
That's one of the reasons I said, well, we should hire UNH to help us with the survey, because it'll give us a much
But
broader
what are we gonna have a
sense.
survey? We don't know what we can build, where we can build it. That's.
You have to work with them to find out, ask the right questions to determine.
What's it cost to hire them?
I think last time we looked at it was like 10 grand. I don't know what the current cost is and stuff like that, because I talked about this, I don't know if you remember, Paul, when I first got hired here.
Yeah.
And I had the big wig that does all the political, and still has all this information, but you know, that's what they do. They have their own little business to do surveys.
No, I know it's UNH, I forget what it's called, but.
UNH Survey Center.
I believe at one time, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was Town of Tilton. Remember they were going to build a police and fire station
Life safety.
up where the public services. They hired a company to come in there and they gave a big long speech and and people voted. It just didn't.
They lost by 1 vote,
You sure?
pretty sure.
I don't remember.
That was up by.
You don't remember them
Aldridge.
coming
It
up
was
there
in the
giving
corner
a
of
speech?
Chase
I
Hill, it was
remember.
like 9 acre lot. wasn't it?
Beside J. Jill.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
that, did
Yeah.
that lose by 1 vote?
It's like 1 or 2 votes.
The police department spent through this a number of times before they got that.
We had plans on top of plans on top of plans. And then we came up with even new plans.
Because every piece of property really requires its own plan. You just can't take, I designed a plan for the Tilton School. Well, the land is totally different there than it is at Park Street or Sanborn Road.
Right.
The concept can be the same, but you need all new plans. It just doesn't work. The civil engineering is all different.
Wait, maybe we just go back to total school.
Well, I don't want to go through the whole process and come up with some ridiculous amount of money and the taxpayers voted down. That didn't come out right, I apologize. We can come up with the perfect plan, and we can do a great job selling it as being the best solution based on, all these type of things we've been talking about. And because of bond rates and construction costs and, we were talking $4 or $5 million, and then it was up to $7 million, and what's it gonna be this time around? Is it gonna be 7, or is it gonna be 10, or is it gonna be 12? And then you're gonna have it voted down, even if it's a great solution, just because of the cost.
None of the solutions we've been brought before were bad solutions. They all just cost too much.
They all cost too much.
We have to get buy-in.
But what was the hot button? Is it being on that side of the river? Is it being on this side of the river?
Well, the Manville Road, Park Street was both sides of the river, but it was cost
Right, well,
$7 million.
but I mean, this is why the survey thing is,
And it's too bad people look at it like that, because it's not.
agreed.
It's-
But remember, we're dealing with a community
And
that
I
has-
understand
has
that.
brought it forth on 2 times to secede from the department.
But there again, Mike, you said it in the beginning, I pay this amount of money and Northfield pays that, so they feel as though Tilton pays more, they should have it in Tilton. And I don't look at it like that. If there was a place right out here that was perfect, I wouldn't mind building a station right here.
I think
I'd
you're
be
probably
happy.
right.
Paul, you're right, but everybody here is entitled to their own opinions.
I
and their
know,
own
and I
feelings,
understand
we
that.
can't,
That's what
we can't
happens.
change
It's too bad.
people's opinions, their feelings. You might be able to change their opinion, but their internal feelings,
Yeah.
you don't really change that from anybody else's. What they are, And everybody's entitled to them. Unless you live in Russia.
So I'm not really clear.
And we've just spent, what, an hour and 15 minutes on that? We got you
When
nowhere.
I'm supposed to tell the building committee, we've talked about a lot of things, a lot of,
Okay, I would be in agreement with Eric, there's maybe a cost, some type of a cost.
I don't want a final cost, it's gonna cost $10.1 million to build this. I
a
wanna know
better idea.
a better idea what the site work is gonna do.
Well, we know the site work.
Because if I'm laying bricks over here, pretty sure it's gonna be within pennies of what it's gonna cost to lay bricks over here. But to get the foundation ready to lay the bricks down on both locations, I wanna know what that cost is gonna be.
Well, but I think part of the difference over here is up on Sanborn Road, it'd probably be a 1-story building. Down here, is it going to be a 2-story
I don't know.
building?
That's what that's what I want the building committee to find out.
It's going to be less expensive than dealing with those gas and power lines, or is it going to be a single-floor building and they're going to deal with? I think there's more to it than just.
That's why I asked the question.
There's, the other thing is what size building, because if you're building an 8,000 square foot building at Park Street, it's a 1-story building. If you're building, a 14 or 15,000 square foot building at Park Street, you're stretching the 1-story. If you're building 20, there's no way you can build 20 and fit it on there because you'd be over those utility lines and
So
stuff like that.
and when
Are
they
you
did
looking for a
that,
substation or some version of a substation or a headquarters with nothing else but?
yeah, because the buildings weren't the same. The building up at Sanborn Road was going to have fewer bays in it because we would still have Park Street, and so the site cost was based on a smaller building up at Sanborn Road than at Park Street. So there is a difference in the cost of it.
And the other thing is, just remember, we're paying for the land up there. You are paying for it,
You're paying
with this here.
with the
Whereas
cost of this,
if we did down there, we still own this here. So whatever this is worth,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, we're paying for tearing it down and paving it over
and trading it for whatever they are.
no, but that's cost of doing it.
That's, of course it is.
Wasn't that an even? No, I know it's not an even trade, but we're not purchasing that land. We're just getting but we have to pay for this.
We'd have to pay for this.
We have to pay for the site prep over here.
Right.
Where there again, if it was down there, we could turn around and sell this. I mean, there's a lot of things like that. You can come up with a lot of things. So I guess my philosophy is kind of look down there and kind of get some idea. And you're right, Eric, if he wants to look into site work, stuff like that there. And
All right, so we already have the site work information, so maybe it's not as big of a project as we're thinking.
Maybe.
To have them give us a better, because they already know cost per square foot estimate that they would use. Maybe we just need some more clarification on what that building is. Well, because the committee's been looking at the program and what the total square footage of the building is going to end up. We haven't quite gotten to the end of that.
So, are you looking for a headquarters station size that doesn't store everything at Park Street? Because that makes a big difference, and you kind of have to know what you kind of want to put there to determine square footage, to determine what site cost.
I would look at the cost of putting everything down there. Then if you want to look at the cost of everything
I
up
think
here.
we already have that cost.
Yeah, already, what the cost was, put everything down there.
We have that
For
for Park Street, but it didn't include moving the utilities. It was a one-story station. That cost they gave us in their,
Right, but we can't build that one, that,
no, we can't build what they.
what
gave
he
us.
just described, we can't build that one storage facility, so it's gonna change everything. Because I'm sure the site prep has to change a little bit where you're gonna go up.
You're gonna build have everything at Park Street has to be a two-story station. You have to tear down what you have now and build over what you have now and extend into the field, but you can't go as far as the utility lines that are serving the communications tower. That's what I think, given my years
All
of experience looking at this. If you want to build something less than having everything at Park Street, say keeping Center Street until they build a substation somewhere, it would be a smaller building and much easier to fit on that piece of property. That's, can still be a headquarters though,
So you're saying build a smaller station down there and keep this here?
until you get a substation built on Sanborn Road. That's one way of looking at it. That's one way of
And
determining the
your
cost.
headquarters would be down here.
Yeah.
What's the cost of maintaining that building for the next 20 years, because you're never getting around to building the substation?
The deal, because it won't pass, the deal has to be, you have to fund both construction projects in one vote.
Yeah, that won't pass. No, that won't even start.
A single station at Park Street is not gonna pass either, in my opinion, given from what I've heard residents from Tilton talking about. Even though you don't think about it that way, Paul, a lot of people do, and we can't discount that.
Can you
Well,
agree?
let's reverse things then. Headquarters down there, and we'll keep this station up here. It's just like we do it like down there, keep the vehicles, what vehicles need to be up here. I mean, all you're doing is switching things around, and you can build a smaller station down there with headquarters.
That's an option. I don't think I've discussed that with anybody to find out how their feelings would be on
Yeah.
that, but again, we really should have this discussion in public to try and get a better idea of where people are feeling on this.
We should have it after the first of the year. We should maybe have that, just say,
A public forum.
an information gathering meeting after the first of the year, just, okay, guys, we're spinning our tires, we need your help, we need a little guidance. What are you gonna support? Plain and simple. What are you gonna support? Let's many minds, many thoughts, many ideas. And then maybe that might give us something that we're not even looking at between the two, but if we don't, and we have to, yeah.
I think, you know, there again, people, when you talk to the public, get their opinion. Somebody might come up with a better idea than all of us.
Oh,
Absolutely.
So there again, you're right, a public opinion is great to have. I mean, just like when he brought up the feist, I thought that was a great idea. Unfortunately, you know, when Ed and Audie and doing that, I thought it was a great idea, but evidently it's not gonna work, so. But at the time, it sounded like a good idea.
Well, if you didn't have to deal with parking,
Well, yes.
Right,
it's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a great
which
idea.
they were right in the middle of a huge issue
And
with that
I'm
right
sure
now.
if,
Well, right, I'm sure asking the town for 12 dedicated parking spaces.
Yeah.
if it was right and it was big enough, you know, I'm sure it would pass on a heartbeat.
Would we end up with better data if we hired, you know, a survey company as compared to the 10 to 100 people that might show up at your
Yeah,
public meeting?
yes, but I think you still have to do both. I think doing the survey first is important, because the way that people do the survey, they kind of, the way they word the questions, questions are educational
Well, that's
in a
just
sense, at the same time that they're trying to get a response out of the respondent.
right.
Well, and you'd have data with you if somebody says, no, everybody feels it should be here. Not according to what we got here. You know, we got 10,000 or 3,000 people say this, and
Right, you can't. Yeah,
It's not
how
somebody's
effective
gut.
is it having 100 people all give their own uneducated, you know, heartfelt opinions?
right.
Without providing them some information for them to make, you know, a thorough comment, because you can come up with all kinds of crazy ideas, but are they helpful? Without providing a whole bunch of information in advance about how we've all gotten to this point.
Yeah, that's important too.
But you're right. The survey, before they put a survey out, they're gonna educate themselves on and ask for a bunch of information so that they're knowledgeable of what the situation is, so they can ask the right questions.
Can't put it in. Okay.
Go ahead.
Before we have that meeting, public forum, we do the survey.
That's
I wouldn't.
yeah, you missed that part.
I was busy.
Yes, the discussion was made. You would have a survey first, and then you would use that to have a public.
I like that idea. I also had another idea about how to, I'd do some great thinking in that room over there.
Okay.
What are the feasibilities and I don't know, of grants out there?
None right now, from the feds anyways. There might be, I'd have to look, but nothing right now that I can see.
And who's to say there might be something, I mean, if it's gonna be at least 2 years for doing it monthly. There might be something by then, or you never know.
I know New Boston
Pretty clear, huh?
just got a new fire station paid for by the federal government.
How they manage that?
They have that space center
They
there.
have the space house building there, so.
Yeah. And they protect that, so somehow or other they got like
Yeah.
$10 million to build a
Can we
new
get a
fire
Space
station.
Force up here?
Space Force.
Maybe we should look into that.
Yeah. We put a radar dome somewhere up on one of the high
It's like a big golf ball.
Yeah.
We had that at Western,
Yeah.
MIT
Yes,
Haystack.
yeah, Haystack Observatory.
Jolly Green Giants golf. Tea and golf.
So did you get your answer, Tim?
So if you're going to do the survey and then the public forum, what is the building committee gonna do between now and then? What direction are you guys gonna tell
Come
them
up
to
with
go?
questions to go on the
Yes.
survey.
Thank you for the question, because I was thinking about it while we were talking about this, all right, is there any additional helpful information that we could utilize of the space needs that would be helpful for a public forum / survey that the committee could work on? I'm not sure. Other than maybe to have a brainstorming session, say, all right, if this was the solution, how many square feet would that be? So, for example, if Park Street's going to be your headquarters but not your only station, then what would the square footage be? If it was going to be the only station, what would the square footage be? If Sanborn Road was going to be your headquarters and Park Street was going to be your substation, then I think we know the square footage of that. But then what would the square footage need to be at Park Street for those future 4 additional guys? And would you build that now when you did that substation? I think you would. So I think there's a little bit of conversation that could be had about trying to take that space needs and figure out what all these different options would look like, because that would help answer your questions about, well, that building would be 10,000 square feet, and using their estimated cost today, that would cost X amount. I don't know if it's worth all the trouble or not.
Well, unfortunately, I think you're gonna have to go down the road a little bit, and you may find that that's the wrong direction. We turn around and you regroup, but I think until you do that, you're gonna be asking the same question every month.
That would be my suggestion for having the committee meet.
Write it down, Pat.
All right, so what are you asking them to do now?
To I don't want to say finalize, but to review the space needs, to come up with building square footages for multiple scenarios for future survey / public forum questions. Because people are going to answer that. You know, these are the sort of the scenarios we run by. Well, how big are those buildings going to be? How much of this is going to cost at those different scenarios? So yeah, I think we have to come up with that.
I think I can put a lot of that together before the building committee, so they can understand where I'm coming from and why things are.
That would be very
Then
helpful.
that can be debated afterwards, but
That would be very helpful.
I can do a lot of that.
Thank you.
All right, so you're going to ask them to review the space needs to come up with building square footage for multiple scenarios for a future survey and public forums.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you
Is
need,
that okay?
Let's move on to the next.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
so that's what you need to tell them next Monday.
Well, I think we'll send that out to them in advance,
Yeah.
so they can start pondering that.
I don't know if I'll have my whole concept in
Advanced.
on Monday, but.
No, but it would be, I think it would be an interesting meeting. Somebody wasn't going to be there.
Paul? No, he's usually.
No.
It was either Dennis or Lisa.
Lisa's,
Lisa's going to be able to be there, but, yeah, okay.
yeah, so I don't remember anyone saying they couldn't. be
Okay.
there.
Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you. Now, let's move on.
I'm sorry to drag that out, Chairman.
Okay, we'll move on.
It was good discussion.
It was.
How about old business? What do you old
We
business?
did old business already.
Did we?
You did,
I didn't
yes.
check it out.
Keep it rolling, Paul.
Huh?
Keep it rolling.
That was the carbon copy, remember?
Yeah, okay. New business.
2024 meeting dates. I have a calendar.
Oh, yeah.
I brought, right? have a hard time keeping my phone and my electronic and my paper calendars.
Well, it's tough to see.
So are you gonna want to continue meeting on the first Tuesday of the month, or are you going to want to change it up?
Tuesday works better for me.
It works fine for me, Eric.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Well, except for January 20, I have January 9th as our meeting in January.
I thought we
January
had-
2nd,
Oh, we are meeting January 2nd.
January 2nd is the first meeting in January.
Yes, and then the next one, February, be February 6th.
What?
January 2nd.
You gonna meet?
I'm back.
Are you back?
Yeah, I think
First day after holiday, I thought usually.
Yeah, that may be why you were thinking of the 9th.
Well, no, yeah. Just take it away.
I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
It's year end, and we're not, you know, you don't
Okay.
go anywhere.
All right, so January 2nd,
Is that right?
for everybody?
I'm just trying to put it on the page.
Okay. The next one would be February 6th. Then March 5th,
Would you say February what?
6th,
In March?
5th.
You're going too fast for me, please.
Okay.
Write it down and then put it in later.
Paper one.
No,
April.
it's so off now.
April 2nd,
So January 6th,
May.
February 6th. What was the date? March 5th?
yes,
Thank you.
April
What's
2nd.
election day? Is that the 12th?
that's the 12th.
Okay.
May.
Then
May.
you gotta wait until the new board.
When's the district meeting?
If
That
there's-
is March 18th.
Gotta put that down on the calendar.
So the town meeting will be the 16th,
On Saturday,
Yes,
and the school district meeting will be the 23rd probably?
yes.
yes.
Now, in February, you have to have a public hearing on the warrant, and the budget committee has to have a public hearing on the budget. So they're meeting again on the 18th, and at that point in time, I can broach the public hearing
What?
in February.
So when's the day that we have to have it by? I know, I don't have that in front of me.
Hold on. Coming up. Maybe. Okay, that has to be held by, let's see. February 16th is the very last date. And that's Friday.
Well, I don't wanna have it on that day.
So we have to have a public hearing prior to that on
Yes.
the warrant.
No, yes, and also on the budget. And
Budget.
you guys usually do it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
One
I
minute.
do not recommend February 14th either.
No,
No, we did that once, it didn't.
We're not doing it again.
What days that are?
That's a Wednesday.
that's
Valentine's.
Valentine's Day, Ash Wednesday, that's a busy day.
So let me get to February.
When's the liquor issue?
All right, so,
Did the budget committee have a discussion about public hearing?
not yet.
It's just that they're aware that they have to have.
We'll,
So,
we'll do that next Monday, on the 18th.
so you're looking for us to recommend a day?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Is there a day of the week that we typically have it, or does it matter, or?
You have to leave enough time so that in case you cancel it due to weather, you can still have it.
All right, so,
Monday, Tuesday,
February
Thursday.
6th is the last day for petition warrant articles. So I would recommend not before then.
So why do I have it on the 6th? That's our meeting.
Tuesday, February 6th,
It'll be a long meeting.
it'll be a long meeting.
Okay. I think February 7th.
What's Thursday? The 6th, 7th, 8th?
The 8th.
What's the,
Is that a selectmen's meeting?
If they keep their schedule, it's usually the 1st and 3rd.
Okay, well, that would be the 2nd.
Now, I
The
don't know
first,
if
oh, yeah, okay, yeah, first and third, yeah. That would be the second Thursday.
Yeah,
there's 5 Thursdays. Wow, 5 Thursdays.
yeah,
in
5
February.
Thursdays in February, it's leap year.
Oh, yeah. Yay.
I'm okay with the 8th.
the 8th?
Yeah.
I'm okay
For
with
the
that.
hearing.
Yep,
All right, so I will,
February 8th. You okay with that, Eric?
Yeah, I'm just putting it on my calendar. What time? 6, 7?
5:30. No, do we hold it later,
Yeah.
that one later?
6?
6 o'clock?
Sorry for yawning. Apologize.
I think last year, I think it was 6 o'clock.
yeah,
I had 6, it came up with both 6 and 7 as like the default of mine. So we must have had it at 6 one year and 7 another.
No, what
No.
happens, one starts at 6 and the other one starts at
and the
7.
other
Yeah,
one is right
you're right,
after.
yeah.
Okay, and now we are up to,
May.
May 7th,
Wait, what was April 2nd?
Yep.
yes. June 4th. July 4th is on a Thursday and Tuesday is July 1st.
I'll be gone that week.
Okay, good to know. Let me write that in my calendar.
My son very conveniently decided to get married in the Finger Lakes region
Oh,
on the
nice.
29th
Of June?
of June, right? And we'll just continue to Michigan afterwards.
Okay,
Why won't you see all the people?
Do the wine tours.
so let me see.
My wife loved it. Get a limo.
All right, so we're looking then, Chief, what are you taking for vacation?
I haven't broached the thought with my wife yet, so I don't know.
The next
Very honest
Tuesday
answer.
is the 9th.
The 9th works for me.
July?
Yes,
Okay.
Preliminarily, that's fine with me.
okay.
Just until I hear otherwise, we'll go with that.
The next one is August 6th. September 3rd is the day after Labor Day.
I don't know if I'll be around.
Do you want to go to the 10th?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so September 10th.
Huh, I already had it. Apparently I put them all on the 2nd Tuesday of the month for some reason. So,
Well, that's what it used to be.
yeah.
October 8th.
You want to do it on the 1st?
Oops, wait a minute, yeah.
October 6th?
October 1st.
October 1st.
Does that work for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
November 5th?
Election day.
Is the 5th election day?
So it says on my calendar.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Can't have it then.
No, because,
No.
Eric, you're up this year, right?
I'm up this year.
So, yeah, so, all right, so we,
That's
Well, it's not-
That's not the day he's getting elected.
Yeah, I'm not running for president.
oh, that's right. That's right. So are we
You
going
don't,
to,
you don't know
Sorry.
that.
No, I could
sorry,
write in campaign.
the 5th.
But no, but you may have this one. Doesn't this get used by? This room get used by the supervisor, the checklist, and all that.
I don't believe so on the 5th. I think there's bowls.
Okay.
I'll be double checking to make, I will find a spot for all of these meetings. And then the last one is December 3rd, but without putting in any dates for
Budget here.
budgeting.
Budgeting.
But we do have a tentative date
Names are
for
all the same.
the public hearing.
This is cool, good reading.
I'm still keeping it up.
Has anybody else got any dates that they're not gonna be around that they know of now?
I don't know what to do it tomorrow.
I think I have tomorrow under control,
Okay,
meeting at 7, but.
I had breakfast.
You all set there?
all set, moving on.
Okay, draft 2024-01 articles.
You all have copies? It's under your packet. Hold on, it's right here. What did you do with it?
I don't have it. Not in here.
Huh, here. Have this one. I have the original.
Oh,
I don't have it.
He'll find it when he gets here.
Okay.
where are your meeting minutes that were attached?
Did you read the
Right
whole
here.
thing?
No,
I
I
didn't give
just
meeting minutes
ran
out yet.
across that one
I mean,
thing.
it's
Oh,
4 or 5 pages long.
Oh, yeah.
It was interesting.
You must have, I have
What are you
them.
reading?
2010
All right, so let me get into there.
district meeting when they voted to, what was it, vote to
Oh, yeah,
dissolve the
dissolve.
fire district. So it's got everybody's comments and it's got every, it's all typed out. Pretty
All right,
interesting
so
stuff.
as you will see, some of it is highlighted, and that's because, like the operating budget, you have to decide whether it is or is not recommended by you. And then the budget committee will have to decide that as well, but they finalized the budget last night.
Oh yeah, is there an update on it?
That's in your packet, on the bottom,
Okay.
Really?
yeah. You were there.
Yeah, I hope you can give us an update, but, because the meeting was online today, to watch.
Well, I've been having, the video was not cooperating, and then the website went down.
Yeah, we're transitioning to the new website, so the new website should be up any day now.
Should we put something up?
The old website is not really working either.
Should we put something on our Facebook page that says our website's currently down as a transition to a new website?
Yeah, I didn't know. it was
We
down. I was-
can't, yeah, it has to go on Facebook because I can't put it anywhere.
Okay.
Um,
I had
Sean
no,
can do that right now.
I can do that
Yes,
as
you
we
can.
speak. Just gonna make sure I do it as us, not the Lakes Region Wavemakers. I've done that once. Somebody probably thought it was funny that the
Switch here.
Lakes Region Wavemakers.
So anything that has the warrant article highlighted, you need to decide on whether you want to include that warrant article, and if you do, what the amount you want to put in for.
We have to do this tonight?
Yes.
Yes, that'd be warrant article 7, add to the land and building fund,
Oh, and 12.
and 12, yes. And then, like warrant article 8, the amount is highlighted because we don't know what that figure's going to be yet. We have to wait for the end of the year.
Fire prevention.
Yes, and the health insurance deductible and the communications tower. Those we don't know what it's going to be until the end of the year. I should know the health insurance deductible. I have to have that information to the trustees for their meeting next Tuesday, so that'll be that'll be done by then, but the rest of it,
That, Article 7, the $100,000,
yes.
that's tax money, that doesn't come out of fund balance.
No,
Right.
it's tax money.
Tax money.
Tax money.
And we've been doing this for the last several
Quite a few, yeah,
years.
quite a few years.
So we did last year, we did 50,000.
No, that was
No.
a couple, 3 years ago, we did 50.
Yeah.
The Alborn one.
Yeah, they do.
like I said, the reason I highlighted the article number was because we didn't know if you would want to put that in or not.
So as I recall, 8 and 9 are together because you're taking the money collected and you're putting that in the fund and then you're pulling it out to fund the
Right.
other article.
Right, because that's Sean's budget,
We on?
the 4709.
47.
Okay.
Yeah,
8 and 9, I'm sorry.
right, and 8, we don't know the answer to yet because
Right.
we don't have all, you know, the end of the year hasn't hit yet.
Is that same thing true with 10?
10, I'm waiting for, I should have that figure for next week because I have to provide that to the trustees, so they'll reimburse us. Just like I'll provide them with the figure for what Sean expended under the expendable trust fund, they'll reimburse us. And the same thing with the dry hydrant cistern expendable trust fund.
Was that, on dry hydrant cistern, was that 100,000 last year?
Yes, it was.
For 2 years, we've had it in there. I don't think we need to do it next year, because we haven't moved forward some of the projects, so that money's still sitting there. So
So for 2024?
I don't think we need to add an additional amount from what we have in there currently, so I would delete that article for this year.
Delete it this year or this coming year?
This coming year,
On this warrant?
on this warrant,
Yeah.
Oh, you want to delete this one?
yeah.
Okay, so you want me to take this article out?
Well, I guess we
It's
should.
up to you guys to
It's
decide.
up to you guys,
How-
but
how-
yes.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
much
how much
money's in that
yeah.
account?
About 160,000?
And what are the proposed projects total to?
Well, we're gonna, do the one on, Sanborn Road. And then the one we were going, the cistern on Vista Heights, the cistern on Vista Heights has turned into a ghost because nobody will sign the, easement. So, my next question, I guess maybe this is a good time to ask you gentlemen, what if they just signed a letter saying that, giving us permission without it being an easement?
Wouldn't that be illegal?
That sounds like a legal question, to be honest with you.
It's been done before. I like to have an easement because that guarantees us access and right to repair and maintain, whereas some other places where we've had only permission from the landowner, depending upon the landowner, it changes. An example is the dry hydrant at the top of Mike Street.
We're not allowed to use it.
We're not allowed to use it. It needs to be repaired, and
Where's that?
Caleb Hill Road,
Caleb Hill Road.
take a right onto Caleb Hill,
So I know
probably
the
a
left
couple
there,
hundred feet
right.
up on your left.
There's a little pond in somebody's yard there.
Now, was that, when that,
Glance, yeah.
The Glant allowed us to put it in and service it, and the new owner will not. It needs repair and they won't let us fix it.
Is that recent?
2 years ago?
Nah, I think we may have new owners.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the ownership has changed quite a bit in that residence.
It's a crummy neighborhood anyway.
Neighbors.
they're getting
So-
more than
so you-
lawns up there.
You're thinking they should be approached?
Do you know them?
I don't
Okay.
know who it is, but I think there are new people there that, I remember them being asked a few
Because
years back.
we have to tear
They said
we have
no.
to tear the yard up
Yeah,
and replace
and,
it.
but I think there's no owners there.
Because that'd be nice. There's no water up there.
Yeah. I think of that every time we talk about hydrants.
Where's the
Mine's
last
been
hydrant?
broke for 10 years.
Last
There's
hydrant
a
is
hydrant
a-
at the top of the hill.
But,
Yeah.
well, which does have, that used to only have about 200 gallons a minute, which isn't enough for anything. They did redo some of that line, and we do have better pressure there, but the last good hydrant, in my mind, has always been at the intersection of Deer Street and Winter Street. There is the 2 more hydrants up the road, and they have increased the pressure, so it is usable.
We do have the dry hydrant right across the street from the parking lot of the
Yeah.
Veterans Home too.
We have one at the Veterans Home also, so we have two other dry hydrants. So there is water supply up there, but
No, you got a pond sitting there right now that would be available.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing down on Clark Road there? I thought,
There's one hydrant on Clark Road that is, it will give us water, but not a lot. It's a 4-inch loop line or 2-inch, I don't even know.
I don't even know what the line is.
It's this
under
very small line. And then we have that one dry hydrant on Clark Road. It's outside the rear parking lot to the veterans home.
the Veterans Home, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of halfway, there is that pressurized hydrant halfway down the gully on Clark.
Is-
I mean on Colby,
is
I'm
that-
sorry, on Colby.
But the big
Colby.
pond down on Clark,
Oh, yep, that we do, we have, that's a wet, that looks like a wet barrel hydrant, but that's actually a dry hydrant. So you open it like a hydrant, but you have to draft out of it like with a hard suck, like it's a dry hydrant.
okay.
I'd like to see number 12 removed, simply because, you know, we're asking for a lot this year. And
Yeah.
anything we can,
We have to make
if
a
we,
motion.
if we don't need it,
We have to
it
make-
don't
But
sound
if
like we
you're,
need it.
if we don't have it, does it create confusion when all of a sudden it comes back?
No, if you don't have to explain it, so we didn't need it last year, so we didn't have it in there. And now we need it again, so that's why we're asking for it again. Either that, or we ask for a nominal fee this year, you know.
Like $1,000 to keep.
You know,
Well, no, I know, I think it maybe in the town side, it's created confusion in the past where they didn't have something one year, then they put it back. Well, it just, at least if you always have it, you can always go back and say, we needed, you know, we've always contributed this fund, we didn't.
Or do you put it in there and then you table it at the meeting? Or tabling doesn't allow you
Withdraw it.
discussion.
what's the balance in there now, Kath? Can you look it for me?
Did you say 161,000? I have that in my head, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Or do you put it in there with the commissioners and the budget committee not in favor of it? And so then it's tabled at the meeting? Or, I don't like the idea of doing that, but.
The warrant's the same, we can put $1 in, or no, is that not?
Well, that's, right, what's gonna
purpose?
cause the least amount of confusion, I think is.
The
always-
last bank statement I have on that was from August, and that was $195,748.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be pulling
We spent that.
27,000 plus out of it for reimbursement.
Is that what Jay's cost?
It, yeah, somewhere around there,
So 170,000.
So there's
Yeah.
still 170,000.
You'll still have.
yeah.
150 at least by the
So-
time.
Either say 30,000 instead of 100,000, or you don't recommend it, or some, or, you know, or pull it entirely.
Well, I don't think.
I guess I would put in here that we do not recommend it because we have X amount of dollars in there. We haven't used it yet because we haven't had the time.
But then they're
to-
gonna think it's weird.
They're
that-
gonna
that
ask,
it's
why are you
in there
putting
as-
it in?
Yeah, why are you putting it in
You
the
wouldn't have-
warrant,
if the-
and then you don't
if the-
recommend
If
it?
the commissioners don't recommend it.
I guess.
You don't want
I guess-
to-
You're the ones who put it
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so.
I guess, I mean, when you need a fire truck, you put one in, when you don't need the fire truck, you don't put it in.
I was just trying to, okay, that's confusion. I'm okay, pull it up.
I'm okay with taking it out.
Yeah, I'm okay with taking it right out of there.
All right, so warrant article 12 is gone. I just deleted it. Okay, that brings us back to,
Land and building fund.
Wait, can I
Yes.
go back to Article 11?
No.
What is
Yes.
that? What is that money for?
that's the communication tower expendable trust fund. That's the money that comes in every week from the lease, from the rent.
Yeah.
And then at district meeting in 2021, the warrant article was changed so that half of that money goes into an expendable trust fund and from the unassigned fund balance, and then the other half is used to
Offset.
offset
So this is half of the revenue?
for this,
For this year.
yes, but that's 2 years' worth, because
Because-
they didn't give us,
They didn't stop paying us when they should.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna have to make that clear. Okay.
right,
And so we're putting it into the,
Trust fund.
yeah.
And the half goes back into that.
I'm drawing a mental blank. And what is that money gonna be used for?
The trust fund, whatever you guys want. Well, I'll recommend that you use it for something and then you agree with me or disagree with me.
Well, the warrant article was for maintenance
Yeah.
and
And the building.
buildings.
Maintenance, buildings,
Right,
radio
right, right.
Yeah.
infrastructure,
Yes, yeah.
so like, for instance, that microwave link that the budget committee didn't approve, you could use that money for that microwave link, because it's radio infrastructure stuff.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's the total we got in there, or is that just,
That was as of last month. I
So
don't know
that'll
what
be
it is yet.
updated.
We have another payment
okay,
coming,
okay.
so I have to wait for that to come before I get that figure in.
The budget committee took it out.
The grant? Oh, wait,
Not the grant, no, different thing.
Oh,
Okay.
Right, so do you want to start back at the beginning and say whether you do or don't recommend? The operating budget.
I recommend 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2.
You don't have to do those, they're not money articles.
I know, no.
It is recommended by the commissioners to do it.
Where's the bottom line?
Maybe this is for you.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line.
All right,
Why is,
so hold on. I invite you to look at page 5. You'll
You
notice,
can look at page 5 on your
on your
unused
budget,
I was sitting going, why is the budget committee's budget higher than the commissioner's budget?
I'm gonna, but wait, there's
Wait,
more.
there's more.
So after much discussion, it was a good,
Very lengthy.
very lengthy
Very
discussion. The budget committee unanimously
Unanimously?
yeah, approved a higher starting wage than what the chief had, and what we had put in. And that was to $25 an hour.
yes.
The reason being that it's getting more and more difficult to recruit and retain high-quality firefighters. And the costs involved with replacing those firefighters. And we're gonna, even though this would put us in a, near the,
No, it's a little bit, somewhere between the middle,
in
a little bit higher than the middle.
a little bit higher than average. That
Because we were going to 23.
2381,
338.
2338,
So the budget committee used 25.
25. And then there's a part 2 to that, right?
And that's approximately 90,000 more for wages, but everything else goes up additionally.
Correct.
Yes. So like Medicare.
And you were at 5. So what does that percent work out to?
18.4 something.
Did you put in that?
Charlie said it was 18.48.
Okay, 18.48%,
So $25 an hour is not
48% increase.
Got it. Paul's over here, trying to get his composure back.
I'm
surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. When was the last time that?
If I told you who made the suggestion, that might surprise you even more.
Yes, definitely would.
I don't know if I should
Go ahead.
share.
Well, I'm gonna watch the meeting.
It was well, it was actually suggested what this, not this past one, but the meeting before.
Right,
Before.
meeting before.
Yeah, and then we took time to, but it was actually suggested by Jason Wright. Then, should I mention the other side of that too?
It's public.
Because we have to change, we would have to,
Which other side?
Oh,
dental.
The dental?
it didn't get approved.
That didn't get approved.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I
But
couldn't,
next year,
Next year,
yeah.
they're gonna
Okay,
include,
sorry.
they wanna add, dental to
the
the
benefit
benefit
package.
package.
100 Where the district pays 100% of the dental. Which, in the worst case scenario, is like less than $30,000.
Somebody let us know.
Um,
That's the crux of it.
yeah,
Yes.
we took out the chief's
Microwave line,
microwave link, which was on page 14 maybe?
somewhere around there.
13?
13.
That, but that came out of apparatus.
Apparatus and equipment fund, yes.
Apparatus and equipment fund.
So you guys didn't bring the budget down anything, I mean, bring it down, did you?
Well, that's what I was saying. When was the last time you saw the budget committee have a higher number than what was that?
There's been times in my career where the budget committee has recommended a higher number on a particular line, but never the salary line.
Well,
You know,
never,
and
the
never
whole
to
budget.
a, never to a great
It was
extent.
a good discussion. It was.
And never that the whole budget was increased, but the discussion was lengthy, for 2 meetings, a lengthy discussion over the pros and cons of this.
It was a very good discussion.
It wasn't a quick decision. It was well thought out. Everyone who wanted to speak was able to speak.
Well, you know, that, I didn't, you know, the meeting before, I thought that Kathy did a nice job of getting everybody's,
Yeah, she did a nice job.
everybody to speak.
And she, well, yeah, it was unanimous, so she
Unanimous,
supported it.
Right,
The entire board,
yeah.
Committee.
It
Committee.
was.
committee.
Everybody voted affirmative.
Well, we need to make sure and thank them for their hard work.
God, looks like they agreed on about everything here. Except for raise.
Did we go down a little bit in fuel maybe?
There's a few items where they cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cut diesel and gas.
That's because the prices are even lower than when we discussed it, so. One sneeze is the least of all bets are up.
Office supplies, $1,459. 1,459.
Just because that was,
That's what hasn't been spent this year.
yeah.
They, you know, but then we've had stuff happen.
Yeah, crazy stuff has happened since then. but-
Did we touch training? I know we talked about training at length.
It was approved at the prior meeting, they just wanted some clarification.
Yes.
Call company uniforms.
They out of diesel, didn't they, 6,000?
Yes.
I think the budget committee was surprised the members of the career staff that were here.
Yes.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yes, yeah.
Grateful.
Did you have members last
Yes.
night?
Yeah,
We had two,
we had two.
Matt Gilman and
Matt Gilman.
Ryan Pila.
Brian Pila, yeah.
And he said it was nice to watch it in person.
Yes, because he's always either, the day after, he's either listened to it, the video while he's driving to work, or sat down and watched it, so.
He's a long person.
He
Yes.
still is from Vermont.
Yeah.
So you got plenty of time to listen to it.
Okay, let's move along here.
All right, sorry. Operating budget. So you're looking to see whether we're in a,
Yes.
whether we're recommending or not?
Yes,
Or are we recommending?
Do we have to do a motion and a, I don't remember how to do it.
I think you can take them individually, or you can
Yes.
take them in groups, or you
Or you
can
could
take
do
it
the
as
whole
a
thing.
whole thing.
I'd like to take them individually, operating budget.
okay.
Make a motion then.
Oh, wait a minute.
I make a motion that we,
What do you need?
I'm gonna write on this.
that we
Sorry,
recommend
Mike.
Article 3 is written.
I'll second.
So you made a motion to approve?
Eric made it.
Yep,
To recommend.
okay,
Tim seconded it.
yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. Apparatus and equipment replacement fund budget.
And these are right out of the budget.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 4. Sorry, it's fresh for me because it was from last night, so I apologize.
No, that's right.
I'll second it. I moved second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wait,
What?
David?
Article 5, purchase new amounts.
Yeah, but,
What's
Was
the
it dollar
matter?
amount? right?
oh, wait. Sorry, I was looking at our column, not the budget
I was
committee.
gonna say,
Yeah, sorry.
wrong column.
Wrong column. Did it pass?
Article 5.
Purchase new amounts. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 5 as written.
I'll second the motion, so we can chat about it.
Yeah. Now, there's nothing in here saying when we're gonna purchase it, is it? Or
Well,
you're gonna,
we've actually placed the order with the agreement that if it's not funded, they're just gonna sell it to somebody else. The ambulance is scheduled to show up 2 years and a few months from now.
I have a question. That amount is not what was on page 14.
There's two amounts on page 14 that add up to that amount. One's
Oh,
for
with
the
the equipment.
vehicle, and one's with the equipment.
Sorry.
Did the budget committee not?
No, 'cause it's-
They haven't done warrant
didn't do
articles, they
warrant
don't do it
articles.
until after you guys do.
So they haven't had a discussion on it?
Right.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
Sorry. I'm operating at 2 hours soon, so.
That's okay, sorry.
now did we approve, so it's been ordered already?
Yes, you talked about it,
Yeah, I remember talking about it. I don't remember saying go ahead and order it.
you did.
We did.
Okay.
Because it was like a 2 or 2.5
2
year
and a half
wait.
year wait.
Crazy.
New engines are over 3 years now.
Now, let me ask a question. What if it comes in within a year?
It's not.
And, say, I know.
We have the money in the bank to pay for it. If by a miracle it shows up next spring, we can pay for it.
If
So-
it's voted in.
Yes.
Right. Right, because we have, right, if it's voted in, it doesn't matter when it comes in, when we pay.
Okay,
We have nearly $1 million in budget in that account right now. 900 and something thousand dollars.
okay. You got any questions on it, Tim?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, the motion been made. Did you second it? Somebody-
Yes.
I think you said
Yep.
it.
Okay, yeah, I did. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, purchase a new pickup with a plow. I'll make a motion, we, on this article, we accept that.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second, any discussion?
Yes. Is the wording proper in there?
Yes.
It should, because it's more than just a pickup truck and a plow. It's a pickup truck and a plow and all the associated equipment,
It's
right? You're putting the decals on,
Yeah,
you're
it
putting
comes
lights
fully
on,
equipped.
radios, and then,
Most of that stuff is, like the radios and stuff like that, is just transferred from the old ones to the new ones.
is
It's not
that
additional.
cost included in this?
Yes.
I don't know, so, to me it
These
seems,
are gonna go to DRA
yeah,
for pre-review,
yeah.
and then they'll send back their comments and recommendations. But I can't send anything off to them until I know where you guys are at.
I know it's assumed. I guess I would verbalize it in there so that, you know, it's ready to roll. That's the price. Parked in the garage, full of gas, ready to go.
That's exactly what that is, yeah. I don't know what the proper wording for that is. I don't think we've ever had that wording in there.
So, for the purpose of purchasing a fully equipped new 3/4 ton with plow?
They're gonna ask what the equipment is. We're not buying any equipment for
I
it.
know.
But like lights and stuff, is that new
That's
or is
part
that
of the
carried?
vehicle
Is that,
cost.
That's part of the cost.
that's included in the price of the?
Yes.
Okay.
The MHQ?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
MHQ off of the greater,
That would be bad for, that's weird.
the greater, well, it's not the Greater Boston Police Council, it's the Plymouth County Cooperative bid process that we got this one off of.
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Land and building fund.
yeah, add to the land and building fund of $100,000. I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Second.
Been moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fire prevention,
That number will change, it depends on what it is at the end of the year.
so what do you want us to hold off or?
No, you can go ahead and approve it just for the writing, and I got that highlighted so that we know that that will change.
I'll make a motion, we accept it and approved.
Second.
Been moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Fire prevention budget. I'll make a motion, we accept it as is.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second,
Are we getting the, I don't know what the right word is, the balance in that fund must be getting, it's gotta be near 20,000, isn't it?
It's probably close to 30.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what it is. It's just
It's always gonna
figures
come
from
up.
August.
It's always gonna come up, that's why I know it always seems, everyone seems to ask. Cause it's for the replacement of the safety trailer, right?
At some point, yes.
All right, so that,
What's the other major cost
So
purchases
we-
over time?
All the stuff they buy.
Overtime for like firework details, fire prevention details, we use it to pay for, call firefighters to come in if we're teaching kids at the schools, stop, drop and roll. We use it to buy the crayons and pencils and little plastic helmets, that kind of stuff.
But
So that's, Sean put the
Yeah.
budget together,
Yeah,
so Sean
so-
can tell you exactly
Yeah,
what's in the
so
budget.
a lot of this is, we buy carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors.
Right.
We have 4 kits put together now with drills, so we have ladders, so there's one down at Park Street, so a call guy could grab it, and there's 2 more up at Center Street, and then there's another one that floats. And so you can go grab one of those kits and it has everything you need in it. to do any type of smoke detector in the home. A lot, inspection tags, they're not cheap. We buy a lot. I just bought 2,500 of them. I think they were $1,200 and something dollars. So every time we do an inspection, we put a tag on, and you can't pull it. They're the ones you can't pull off
Right.
because they're.
No, I was just wondering, you know, over time, is this, as Eric alluded, as this continues to grow,
Yeah.
are the taxpayers gonna ask for, well, should we be putting all that money in that fund? And we need to be able to confidently either affirm that, maybe we'll have to look at that in the future, or we know that we have some expenses coming up, and that's what we're saving
I think
for.
we're, in my opinion, running fire prevention and running the, you know, in that portion of it. We have a fire extinguisher trainer that we use on a regular basis with businesses in town and the schools. That is, I think, 15 years old. That's a huge expense. And then we have the safety trailer, which we don't use much anymore. It's not really, there's not a demand for it anymore. I think going forward, like looking 3 to 4 years down the road, we should maybe combine the two, in my opinion, and do some, I don't know, I don't have a, this is a rough idea, but have a plan, and it's gonna be a $20,000 to $25,000 expense. So I think having those funds there, readily available, to do those, I know you do, we just did it at 3M. We do it at, the Spalding Youth Center every year, and, you know, and having those firefighters paying for their overtime to come in and paying for that cost.
Okay.
I think it's good to have that there, in my opinion, you know.
No,
After that, you know, and then you save up, and hopefully it lasts 15 years, and then you do it again,
Right,
you know.
right.
As of August 31st, we had $47,001
More than I thought.
and 70 cents in that account.
Right, which is enough for people to start saying, what are you using? You know,
So
'cause we're.
do your research and,
Well, you know, it's not like we're gonna go out of our way to spend it, but,
no.
I mean, we're not in the business to have a savings account.
But no, but if he says just what he said, but now says, you know, right now those cost about $60,000, well, then that gives us a little better picture.
Right. Okay, thank you.
That's if you don't have enough.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Article 10, health insurance deductible. I'll make a motion, we approve that.
I'll second that.
And you said this is gonna change a little bit?
Yes. Probably another $500 or so.
Been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Article 11, communication tower. Somebody else wanna?
I'll move Article 11.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Article 13.
Which is the new 12.
That's 12,
Oh, I'm sorry, 12.
because we deleted 12.
We put this one in every year, and doesn't it get voted down?
Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. After today, I wish we had it. Well, no, it's funny, all three, we have 3 printers and all of them broke within a week of each other.
Maybe whoever broke it, each printer shouldn't be using a printer. Catherine, no, just kidding.
Careful what you wish for.
Huh? I'm waiting for somebody.
Don't tell Eric, careful.
Oh, I'll make a motion to recommend Article 12.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thirteen is,
Thank you. John. So now I can go DRA and
Do we have to sign that?
no,
No.
I just have to go on and put them on their pre-approval.
Well, the budget committee also.
Yeah, they still will see it, but you guys do the warrant articles, so.
Do we know of any petition warrant articles that might be coming?
No, not yet. It's still pretty early.
Okay, let's move on. Set the 2024 ambulance rates.
So I handed you out a handout, and I put a motion at the top of the page if somebody would like to make that motion. And if anybody wants an explanation, I'm happy to explain.
I'll make a motion to set the 2024 ambulance rates as listed below and to authorize the chief to enact the rates effective as of January 1, 2024. It's the second, that's what's got it.
I'll second it, sorry.
And
I'm
move
reading it.
second for discussion.
Okay. So, last year, I went through the Medicaid data collection process that every ground ambulance service has to do within a 5-year period, and we were mandated to do ours last year. So I took our 2022 total cost of the fire department, counting how much everything costs right down to toilet paper, what it costs to run this fire department. And so, in the end, we came out with a number that was, which I think I handed something out to earlier, was in the order of over $3 million, $3.2 million. What I did is I took that $3.2 million and then divided that by how many runs do we do that are EMS in nature. Turns out that it's like, last year was like 65 or 67%. Take that 3.2 million times 65%, you come up with that number. Then I took that number and divided it by every time we transported a patient. And came out with an average transport cost. That average transport cost was $1,957.16. 66% of our transports are, 66% of our transports are ALS1 type transports. So I use that as the base rate, and then 33% of our transports or so are BLS rates. So I cut 25% off. Then we also have a percentage of ALS2 transports. I added 25%. Then we had, I think, 8 transports last year, specialty care transports, which are like emergency hospital to hospital transports, like from, say we take somebody from Franklin to Dartmouth, that's like needs everything in the world, we're bringing a nurse with us and everything else. And I added that cost plus an additional 50% to that. And then I also did a mileage rate where I took the vehicle costs, factored in a 10-year depreciation cost, total capital EMS equipment cost depreciated over 10 years, what the previous year's fuel costs were, plus the incident hourly rate of $50. Then it divided by the loaded mileage, and I came out with, $24.17. So there's a method to all this madness. It's not pulling numbers out of the sky. And I have spreadsheets and all kinds of stuff that gets me to those things. And I thought if I handed all those out, it would just cross your eyes more than anything, because I'm the only one that really knows how it works out. And going forward, as I said, I'm the lead for the New Hampshire Association of Fire Chiefs, and there's a bill that was filed last year in the New Hampshire legislature to eliminate balance billing. Balance billing for us is about, so I $80,000 of what we get from balance billing from private commercial insurance. If you take that out, that's revenue that's lost to us. So I've been working with the insurance commissioner and multiple other people within the insurance department, a couple other fire chiefs within the New Hampshire Association of Fire Chiefs, some private EMS people, and insurance companies. Well, let me tell you about those guys. Never mind. To come out with what's fair, to set a fair rate for ambulance rates, and that the insurance companies have to pay us. It's not what they have right now. They don't have to pay us, they can pay the patient. But when they do that, our name is actually on the check, so it's, we should have to sign the check before that patient cashes the check too. But the banks don't recognize that, and so the patient a lot of times takes that money and runs, and we end up sending them to collections and never collect anything. So they're changing the law, hopefully, or it's proposed that we can set our rates to our costs as long as we can justify them, and I've justified them. And the insurance companies have to pay us directly, and they can't send the payment to the patient. And it's to what we charge. And then there is no balance billing except for either co-pays or deductibles, which are the patient's responsibility anyways, no matter which way. And it won't matter if we're in network or out of network for emergency calls. Now, scheduled transfer calls, that's a different thing altogether, but this is for emergency calls, which could just originate from a hospital. Say we do some STEMI transfers, those would be considered emergencies. A patient doesn't get to choose whether their ambulance provider in emergency is in network or out of network. And that's one of the things that Anthem, for example, he said, well, you're not in network, so we're not going to pay you. We're going to throw you this amount, and you have to, suck it up. This bill, if it goes through the way we would like it to go through, would solve all those problems, and we would be all set, ready to go with these rates. We have not adjusted our rates since 2019, so this will be 5 years, and we should have. The reason we've never adjusted them is because we were always getting less than what we can charge anyways. But if we can collect at least on 20% of our calls that have private insurance what it actually costs, it'll help us out quite a bit. If we don't set our own rates, the insurance companies will have to pay us still, but it'll be at 350% of the Medicare rate, which right now is about $500. So it's better to set, with our cost structure, with what it costs us to provide the service, it's better for us to set our own rates than to take the default payment of 350% Medicare rate. Now, this is all proposed right now, it's not thing, but I feel very strongly that this is going to become the way it is. So.
What percentage does Comstar get?
6.5% of what is collected. Most people around here are paying 7.5%.
You mean most towns, Comstar charges 7.5%.
Yep.
Why is ours different?
You negotiate.
I negotiated.
And the majority of the calls, we don't get anywhere near this reimbursed rate.
Right, because our payer mix, if you look, most of our
Calls are Medicare.
Medicare,
Medicare.
and Medicaid, if you add those two up, it's almost 80% of our call volume, payer mix wise. And that's a set rate. So the state of New Hampshire currently is paying the Medicare rate for service transports.
So the proposed legislation, would it impact those Medicare and Medicaid rates? Or would it only impact?
It doesn't, no, they're not at the table.
Yeah.
Because that's the state government and that's the federal government. Medicaid is the state government, Medicare is the federal government. they're not sitting at the table. But there's, one of the things that happened with the Medicare data that I supplied to Medicare is for Medicare to come up with a reasonable rate, and they're doing this countrywide. It's also, they also delineate between suburban, well, it's not really suburban, they call it urban, rural, which we're rural, and then super rural, which would be like, you know, where you were yesterday.
Oh, that's county.
And that's all based on population per square, density per square mile.
So nothing is actually gonna be done. Do you need our approval? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes,
Okay.
because if the governing body approves the rates, then that's, if the law gets passed, that's what the companies have to pay. I forgot to put a rate down here, which is important. Treat non-transport, which would be the ALS 1 rate less 50%. So cut that in half, and we're gonna put that down. Treat no transport. So let me get my little calculator.
Is that like, when they refuse to go?
That's when we go there, we treat them, and
They don't need to go?
they don't need to go after that, we can still bill them. It's also, so there are some calls that are very expensive to treat no transport, say a cardiac arrest, if we spent, you know, anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes an hour expending great amount of equipment, supplies, and manpower, and
They don't make it.
they don't make it, and we've just spent thousands and thousands of dollars and walk out the door. And we can't, because we didn't transport, we can't charge for it. This would also allow that, so let me,
Who are you billing that through their
it
insurance?
goes to
company?
insurance company.
Oh, I'm
Mileage
thinking
is spelled wrong.
Or some poor family you guys are gonna bill.
It is.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
Well, this is not going to where it needs to be going, but this is for you guys.
What was that amount?
What?
What's my,
Minus what? 50?
Well, it's the base rate minus 50%.
No, I thought you said it was BLS minus 50%.
no, ALS 1, that's what everything's based off, because that's, and that would be $978.58.
I want my 970. We already have a motion there.
Have the motion on the floor, it's been seconded.
Okay, the motion's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's changed colors. I mean, it's not what it used to be. It doesn't look the same.
I know what you're saying, yeah, that's not.
That's,
Okay, review the minutes of 11/6/23, public.
You guys have them or do you need them? Did you read them?
I read them.
Yeah, I think,
What's 11/7?
That was when you worked on the budget. That was a budget
I don't even
workshop.
know if it's that.
Okay, hold on.
Just minutes.
All right, hold on. and I will-
gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, hold on, I got it.
It was Monday and Tuesday.
6. Here, Tim. Does anybody else need 6?
I read them.
I read them.
I make a motion to approve the minutes. So 11/6 as written.
Now I'll second it.
I read these. Okay, yeah.
Good.
Okay, it's been moved second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of 11/07/23, public. As written.
Second.
And moving second, all those in favor?
I had a question, sorry, question.
Okay.
On page 2, halfway down the page, it says Commissioner Sattler asked if 2 mutual aid ambulance requests were due to our ambulances being in use. And I'm thinking, it wouldn't be request, it would be, I think it's just semantics. 2 mutual aid ambulance requests.
Asked if the 2 mutual aid ambulance requests were due to our ambulances being in use.
Was it out of service, maybe?
Request being, we were requested, instead of, 2 mutual aid ambulance responses, or,
Right.
the word request is wrong. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
Okay.
I will,
I don't mean to nitpick, but
it's okay. I'll let Courtney know.
No problem.
sorry, Paul, you were gonna ask for a vote.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 11:07:23, non-public session. Make a motion?
Did you want to read them first?
Yes. Okay.
Take one, pass it on, please, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the non-public session minutes of 11:07:23.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any other business? Review of the manifest, which I did.
Okay.
And then we do have a non-public session that we have to go into,
Okay.
or the other non-public.
Is that just to approve minutes?
No.
We can do that, you guys want to do it now, or you want to go through that?
Yeah. Whatever you,
Yeah, let's do that. Non-public session per RSA 91-A, -3, Roman numeral 2C.
hold on. Down. Go ahead. No, it's not 2C.
What?
It's not 2C.
It says it on here.
It's, well,
It says.
it should say, the one we're going into non-public for is 2L.
Oh. L stands for.
Okay.
Oh, here's the, yeah, these are the ones you haven't gotten yet because they're the Ls. We have to do the non-public for those. All right. Let me-
Oh, you can tell I'm tired. It's where the top is. It said, took me with firearms. Instead of eaters.
I don't have it. Okay, there's, all right, so,
I make a motion we move into non-public session at 8:24 PM. Under RSA 91-A:3 to
L.
L. Consideration of the legal advice provided by legal counsel either in writing or orally to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present. Roll call vote.
Paul Wosser, yes.
Tim Sattler, yes.
Eric Pyra, yes.
A second. Who seconded? Paul, never mind. All right, so now we need to,
Get this process.
yes.
Make a motion to seal the minutes of the,
Record.
Push the red button.
Do we have to go back in public?
You're in public.
make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public session until the matter is resolved.
Until such time as the matter is resolved.
Until such time that the matter is resolved, sir.
I'll second that.
It's been moved second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I need this paper there.
Can I ask a question about this in public?
Yes, please do.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, the fix for the tanker,
Mm-hmm.
why does that dollar amount seem so high? $2,600? And
It's itemized. So, parts and labor.
Should it cost the dipstick on that?
Yeah, well, the rest of the dipstick's still in the oil can.
it's a long dipstick.
Well, it was. It wasn't long enough because it broke.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn at 8:51.
Second?
Moved second, all those in favor?
Shut 3/4 off.